Welcome to another episode of Reseller Evolution. My name's Scott.
And I'm Carl.
Happy 2025, Carl.
Oh my God, so fast.
Oh my God, it's brutal. It's amazing how fast time flies, eh?
It gets worse the older you get, too, especially when you retire.
Yeah.
Like me, because there's no,
nothing pushing you to do anything.
Yeah. So days roll into days. So, but yeah, no, anyways, this is good. I'm still here, still alive.
I have a feeling guys that are in this industry never really retire.
They don't seem to, no.
Right? You're always out there trying. So financially you have retired, but like mentally,
definitely
you're still out there looking and picking, and it's there's something calling you to do something. And hopefully that doesn't end. I don't know. Like, I guess we end when that ends. Is like, I think there's always going to be a drive to find new stuff.
I have a feeling that a lot of people stop when they don't wake up. As depressing as that is.
You mean when they're dead?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a certain percentage of the people like that. Like, because some of these guys that are doing this are in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They may not be lifting furniture anymore. They might not be selling anvils.
Yeah.
But,
I can't see myself lifting furniture too much more. Maybe the odd rare piece. So it's not like that's going to really hurt their feelings that they're not doing furniture, I guess.
Right? Oh God, no. I never wanted to do I used to make, when I first met you, I used to make fun of you for that.
Well, I back then, the pieces that I was moving were stuff that I would still move today. I'm just not as keen on it or necessary. How do I say this? The stuff that, and I don't know, you could probably go back and see old videos, but they're going to be 3 or 4 years ago. But that primitive looked stuff, I think I'm still going to grab if it's cheap. Like, right. I might even just grab it to have here. But I'm getting out of the furniture and the aspects of, like, I just don't need a lot of crappy furniture. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
There's still a certain look that I'm going to get. The best way to describe it is, if anybody wants to look it up, is like primitive stuff. Like, if I saw a Hoosier cabinet for $50, I'm gonna buy that because it's a no-brainer. $400 or $500. Some of them can get into the thousands, but most of them are about $400 or $500. I can't leave that there. I just couldn't for $50 or less. Like, right. Somebody just wanted a gun is what I mean by less. I could not get that Hoosier cabinet.
I'll have to look that up. I know it sounds like a vacuum cleaner to me, so I don't know what you're talking about.
So Hoosier cabinets were very popular probably in the 30s, and they have like this, most of them have an enamel tabletop, but then on top of that they have a bunch of cupboard, it's all. It sits like it's one piece, but usually the top can come off. But they have like a flour sifter in it. You have to look it up. It's hard to describe because it just sounds like I'm just describing basically a cupboard to you. But if you look it up, those things, like an easy $400, and usually $500-$600. And I've seen them in auction. They're very special ones, and I couldn't even sit here and begin to tell you exactly what makes them special, because they all really resemble each other, but it's probably a maker and the condition and stuff. But I've seen them go for $1,000. So,
okay.
Some other primitive stuff is like very old cabinets, but I've seen them go for $4,000 or $5,000. You know what I mean? So the primitive furniture I will always grab if it's primitive. So I don't want to mislead anybody and say I'm not going to touch furniture, but I don't need that. I really don't need too much of that mid-century modern. I don't need any, 80s or 90s, or
You
sorry,
go on.
80s or 70s looking stuff, unless it's completely like just come out of like Clockwork Orange movie or something where it's just, you can't say. I don't know. Maybe I will still grab furniture now and then, but
And you talked yourself
I
into
don't
it.
want to like give myself a list of things. But if you ever look at that 60s like really crazy awesome stuff,
Yeah.
like an egg-shaped chair,
Yeah.
I'm probably going to grab that too, right? But
No display cabinets. That's what you're saying.
well, display cabinets are really the only thing that does sell
Oh,
like consistently. Like especially if they're flat with no middle piece in them.
yeah.
But if they're those big china cabinets, not a chance because they're friggin' heavy, they're big, and nobody wants them.
Yeah.
But if you look at my booth now, you would have saw a couple of new cabinets, and they're my newer cabinets. But saying that, they're still probably 3 months old. But remember, I bought those cabinets.
Yeah.
I moved it in there. I didn't put anything in it. I just moved it in there, and that day I got a call saying this lady. I put a not for sale sticker on it, and she wanted it. I
Yeah.
could have got $400. I paid $100 for it. I could have got $400 right then and there, but I bought it to put my toy soldiers in.
And you put not for sale, and someone they called you still asking if it's for sale.
Yeah, this lady wants it. The lady that called me that worked at the store says, I know it's not for sale, but she's begging me to ask you, will you sell that? And I says, no, I bought it strictly for my toy soldiers. I'm bringing them in. And if I don't have that case, then I got to go out and buy another one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She goes, I understand, but she's begging me to ask you. So, yeah. So,
Wow. How do you come up for a price with that?
because I've sold them in the past.
Right. Okay. No, I was being like, just give her a high price. Basically says, "Oh, you want it? You want it? You can have it for this high price."
Yeah. Um, I guess I could have tried that. Most people know exactly what they are as far as value, but where that might have worked is that you just don't see them that often. You know what I
Mm,
mean?
mm,
So for the fact for her to have seen it, she would probably have to like wait a few months to see another one. You know what
yeah.
I mean? And
Yeah.
she wanted it then and there. So, and the
Oh yeah.
funny thing is, I never did put my toy soldiers in there. If you look right now, my toy soldiers, I ended up putting them in the green one. so, so,
She didn't buy
um,
it then.
what's that?
She did not buy it then.
No, it's not for sale.
Oh, okay. I thought you gave her. Okay. Okay. I was a little confused. I'm a
Yeah,
little slow. I'm a little slow. Okay.
no, no. You asked me if I could give her like a higher price. She wouldn't have been, and I'm like, I could have done that, but I didn't because I actually bought them for the toy soldiers. Um, so, but the primitive stuff, like the good primitive stuff, like there's if you either know what I'm talking about or you don't. But if
I
you
don't.
look on primitive, if you go onto a website of Miller auctions, you're going to
Yeah.
see old Canadiana primitive.
Like when I think primitive Canadiana, I think stuff with that milk paint on it.
Well, that not really. That could have been like the 70s, dude. Like,
Oh, okay. Like
right?
blue milk paint.
Like I could buy it for the paint too. Like if it's old paint, sometimes that old paint looks really rustic and it
Yeah.
gives it a rustic farmhouse paint. So, if I come across that, I might buy it too. But
It's funny at the auctions that half the time they can't. I know it's not the same thing. It's not the good furniture, but half the time, whenever they try to sell furniture, it just usually flops. So it goes like, well, $5 for this whole vanity set. Like, because no one, I don't know if that's changed. I don't see that stuff for auctions much anymore. But before it was pretty sad. Like no
well,
one
that stuff
wanted it.
keeps. You're right because that stuff seems to go up and down. So when I was buying it, I was getting it cheap. Now I don't even see that stuff, or it goes for very expensive. Like that day that I got my 2 display cases, I paid 60 for one, 100 for the other, and then I got that shelf and I paid 100 for it. There was 7 display cases at that auction, and mine was the cheapest one. The other ones went for $300 to $600. Like they probably more average around the $500 mark. Plus they paid
Wow.
premium on top of that. Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, there's 7 of them there. I got to at least get one. And I even paid more than I was hoping. Like I was hoping to grab it for like 50, $60. I got the green one, which was an older one, but somebody had stripped and then painted. So I know I'm kind of going on a little bit, but this is the furniture aspect. But I needed some display cases for my toy soldiers. And the $100 one that the lady had would have paid 400 for, I probably would have had no problem paying $100. But the purpose I was there was for myself, so I don't want to pay a lot where I'm just kind of hoarding it myself, right? I guess type thing.
Yeah.
But $100 was actually a steal for what it was.
Okay.
But primitive, go on to Miller auctions. You can go into they have a Canadiana, they have petrol and all this kind of stuff, but it's the Canadiana. What they would call it primitive, they might call it folk art. They'll have different terms, but these old primitive looking dude, honestly, if you went into primitive furniture, like just that's what your house looked like, even though this stuff is old, and I'm talking like early 1800s, it could even get into the 1700s for some of this stuff. It's old, it's kind of beat up, and it looks like $1 million.
Right.
Like, it's
Yeah.
weird. It's weird to say that, but it's just high craftsmanship. But at the same time, it could have mouse holes in it.
Yeah.
You know what
Well,
I'm
it's
saying?
been around for 200 years,
Yeah. So it's a very, it's kind of one of the, honestly, I think a lot of richier city folk like it. I think they're more, oddly enough, they're into that. It's because it's got an art,
Richier city folk.
city folk. It's got an artsiness to it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, they're unique pieces. They're not just something like no one will have that because that guy who made it made one for his family and that's it, or made one in the local area for people, and only
yeah,
that was made.
it'll be somewhat rare for sure.
Like maybe not the style because they all use the same books to make the stuff, but yeah,
but
no,
it's
I
gonna
can
have
see the appeal of that.
it's gonna be it's not gonna be like a cookie cutter
No,
cupboard, but it could be something that looks similar to someone else's
yeah,
in style, but not in actual dimensions and appearance, like overall appearance and stuff for sure. Right. Anyway, but and then there you get into like dry cupboards. Dry sinks. That primitive style back then, like those $400 or $500. If I get it for $100 or less, I'm grabbing it every time. So I guess I don't know. I don't want to pick it up, but I guess I would.
well,
But I
I
just
like
don't see them cheap like I used to when I first started going to these auctions and stuff. I used to see them all the time.
there was a time period was all that stuff was going for nothing. Yeah,
And then now that stuff is coming. Maybe it's coming back in, or more people are just going to those auctions that are into that. But I can't really pick that stuff up anymore. And then you get something like, remember that lady outbid me, the older lady, she outbid me
yes.
on, right? Like, I mean, that's a piece of furniture, but I'd pick that
Remind
up.
everyone what you're talking about.
Well, it's like a, it's like a cabinet drawer. It's made of wood, and I think they were probably made in the 40s, 30s, maybe even in the 50s, but I think we started getting to metal and stuff back then. But they're thin drawers, and there could be 100 of them. They're probably at least 50, but they're storage drawers, and they're about 1 to 2 inches wide.
They
So it's not
remind
like
me
you
of
could,
card catalogs from the libraries. For those of us who actually went to a library that actually used cards. My God, I just realized.
yeah, dude, because I didn't waste my time because I knew the computer age was coming.
Oh, now I'm just thinking like how many people actually use those?
I know.
Like
The
dozens of
Dewey
us. At
Decimal
most.
System. The Dewey Decimal System, Carl.
Oh man.
But these are this one, like, they're very flat, so the drawers are probably 1 to 2 inches thick. So
Yeah.
like it'd be great to put in, like, maybe have a collection of pins. I think the lady used it for her jewelry, but I can see, like, if you had insects or rocks or a collection of small little flat thing, right? It would slide in there. You could pull it out and you'd have them all organized and stuff. But that shelf is really about $6,000. That's kind of the
Crazy.
yeah. So there are lots of furnitures. If I saw it for the right price, I'd pick up. But fortunately, and I'm very fortunate, I don't see them that often, so I won't be picking them up. But I'm done picking up, like, chairs. I'm done picking up, tables, unless they're super primitive, because they just sit around for a long time. Uh, Shelves. Um, like, I have a cabinet right now that I'm selling for someone else on a friendly basis, because they've provided me with lots of inventory in the past. And you know what? It's just sitting there. It's odd, nice piece, but it's
Right.
sitting there, right?
Right.
So I got nothing into it, and I'm using it to display things,
Right.
but it is just sitting there.
Hmm.
So I think they got too high of a price on it. They put $700 on it. I wouldn't have put more than $500 on it, but they know more than I do about it. Um, but at the same time, I kind of know the clientele that goes through the store, right?
Yeah.
So there's a difference. You can know your item, but you also have to know your clientele, you
Yeah.
know. So there's a difference there, but I hate contradicting myself, because I do not want to deal with furniture, but there are some pieces I just can't say no to. I'm looking at one of those wind up record players. If
Yeah.
I can get them for $100 or less, I'm probably picking them up every time, because they're $300-400.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. I guess I'm just a big liar. I'll pick up furniture.
I don't even know how we got on this subject.
I don't know, Carl. It's New Year's Eve. I'm, like, tired.
New Year's
Not New
Day.
Year's Eve. It's New Year's Day. But anyway, so I guess that's the end of the show. Now we've just
Yeah.
talked for 2 hours. I felt like
Thank
it.
you for listening to Furniture with you, with Scott and Carl. Yeah.
But Carl, you have to look up Hoosier Cupboard, because
Yeah.
if
Oh
you're
yeah.
going to auctions, you have to pick this up for your booth. It'll be sold. It'll be sold in a couple of weeks.
Wow. Will it fit in my Tesla?
Uh, I would make it fit. I would tie it to the roof or something.
Tied to the roof.
Because
Yeah. Yeah.
you can, like, people refurbish these things, so I wouldn't pick it up if it's beat up, but I would pick up the countertop, the enamel top the tabletop. I've sold those before. I think I sold it for like $60, right?
Yeah.
Guy didn't know what it was. It was a tabletop. Well, I'm like, I know what that's for. That's for a Hoosier cabinet, right? So I've sold the drawers out of Hoosier cabinets, because people use them. They'll fix theirs up, right? And a lot of these things could be missing a drawer. I mean, they were kind of really famous in the 30s, but I think they even go back into early 1900s. I might even go into the 1800s. I don't know, but I know the 30s they were very popular. So
Yeah. The
Hoosier
only
cabinet.
furniture I've ever thought about picking up is small side tables and things like that would fit in my car. But talking to you, I think maybe they sit around. So
I hate to mislead you, because some of them do go quickly. Especially the primitive look. You got to learn the primitive look,
yeah.
because the primitive stuff really, it looks so. It's hard to explain, Carl, but it does really look primitive. It looks very harshly done. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Right.
Or it could look really, like, well done, but at the same time, the surfacing could be, you know, little bit uneven, a little bit rough, a little bit, like, not something you would pick up at IKEA. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like, you just have to look at it. It's harder to describe, I guess, but you just have to kind of, like I said, go on to Miller auctions and go in there and look up primitive furniture, or just Google primitive furniture. But anyway, so I don't know what we did to get off that, but anyways, how's things going, Carl? How's your weekend? Did you guys have your booth open this weekend, this
Yeah,
Sunday?
we did. It was fine. It was like 150 bucks of sales. It
Hmm.
was actually almost all records for my my
Oh,
buddy.
okay.
So I didn't sell too much of my own stuff, which is fine, right? It was still there, and it was pretty quiet. I was kind of curious what it'd be like, because it's a weird time period between Christmas and New Year's Day. But no, but it was quiet. It was fun. It was fine. Um, Reopened my store Boxing Day. I've already had a few sales go out. Went to an auction, another live auction.
Your eBay store.
My eBay stories, sorry. Yeah, my eBay store, it reopened. I actually start off the new year. Well, actually, no, it was last year, so it was okay. I sold a couple of teacups,
Okay.
and it's like, one of the annoying things is like, I said, okay, she wanted to, for some reason, my combined sale didn't work on that stuff. I might have that turned off for teacups. But anyways, I couldn't find one. I hate that. I don't know how I would lose a teacup though. It's
Huh.
not like it's in boxes somewhere that's all on the same shelf. And so I must have double listed it or ended and relisted it, or I don't know what happened. So she's like, give me my money back. I'm adding emphasis of the emotion. And I was like, thank God, because I don't want to ship these because they were cheap. So actually what I did is I removed 80% of my teacups because a lot of them are 25 bucks and under.
Yeah.
And I really don't want to ship them for that. It just takes too long. There's not enough demand. They've all been sitting there. I'll bring them all to the booth,
Yeah.
put them all on the shelf and leave them there. And if they don't go, and they're good brands, at least they're Paragon and Ash Ainsley.
Ainsley. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're good, like, especially the Paragon are good brands, just that they're common ones. So
Yeah, I don't know if you'll get 25 out of the booth. I don't think I would get that. I'd probably get
no.
like 10 bucks.
Oh, really? Even for a Paragon?
Yeah. If they're very common, right? So
Right.
you can try that.
Well, maybe I'll do 15.
No. Try
And
what you're asking because you can always come down, but you can't go up, Carl.
that's true. That's
Right?
right. Yeah.
So put some for your 25 and some of your cheaper ones for like if you got Paragon and Ainsley, like I mean those are actually bigger brand names, right? But like I don't think
Yeah.
anyone's unless it's a special Royal Albert or something. I don't even know if a Royal Albert would fetch 25 bucks, but
I don't even know if I bring in a Royal Albert, to be honest, because I
but
don't want. I might
they'll
bring it
fly out the
in.
door for $5 or $10. Like they'll fly out the door. So if
Yeah,
you're at a yard sale and you see them and they're just cheaper ones, but they're I don't know, you can pick up 10 for $5 or a buck a piece or something. Um, they still can't have chips in them and stuff like that. But if they're
no,
decent, you'll get $5 to $10 for those teacups, no problem.
okay,
Right. So, if you just see a box of, so I guess what I'm saying is if you see like a box of them for like $10,
they'd have to be really cheap for me to pick up the white ones. Like generally, my rule with teacups is I want to see color on them.
yeah. So I would kind of do it this way. I guess this is kind of how I would do it. If I saw a bunch in a box and like say I'm at a yard sale, someone's mother had passed away. She had this collection. The kids don't care. They're just here's a bunch of teacups there. Instead of going through it, I just pay the $10, knowing that I'm probably going to get my money back on at least 3 of them, putting in the booth, and then hope that there's a piece of gold in there. Also, keep in mind that probably some of them are going to be chipped and have to be thrown away. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but instead of digging through them and have other people kind of dig through them, I just grab it and put it in my pile. You know what I mean? That's kind of where I go with that. But
yeah. Anyways, I'm glad to see them off my store. I kept 3 or 4 of the more valuable ones, like the ones over $35. I kind of kept.
okay.
They're still worth my time. Actually, it's funny. I have another teacup story. When I was at the live auction this weekend, and they had a whole bunch of teacups, like a big collection, maybe $35. And on there was a Paragon.
Oh,
Right. So it's like, okay, Paragon is good. So I kind of looked at it, went around the auction, Looked at a bunch of other stuff, and I thought, okay, I better check to see if there's any chips or cracks in that Paragon a little more carefully. So I went back to that area, and it was gone. That teacup in another set was gone. You could see the holes where they were in the line of teacups. And so I asked the auctioneer. I said, "Oh, I actually asked the auctioneer's assistant or helper, or whatever, the one who writes down prices." And I said, "Oh, did you pull this from the auction?" And she said, "No, we didn't. Not as far as I know. We didn't pull that." And she said, "Well, thanks for letting me know." And then I said, "Yeah, because like who knows? Maybe it got moved. I was thinking maybe it got moved around, or who knows, or even stolen, I guess. But I don't know how common that is. But so the auctioneer came back, and he came out and said, actually, I had to pull it because the family came around and said, oh, that's not for sale. Of course, the one I wanted isn't for sale, and pulled it out.
Yeah.
What I was thinking is often with those teacups, when they sell those at auction, they probably do on choice.
You're right. Yep.
And I would have bid high on choice for the Paragon, gone to go get it from the lot, and it wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
And then I would have been stuck. I don't know. I probably would have said something like, some of them are missing or something. They're not so anal that they wouldn't have let me cancel my bid.
But yeah, they can't hold you to the bid. I would have totally done the same thing. If something I wanted wasn't there, I would have said it's gone. So you know what I mean? You would have been like I wouldn't have got all shy about it and like, oh, I don't want to cause a commotion. I would have said it. So would you have said that too?
I would have said, I'm not sure how I would handle. I would have said something. There's like, if I'd been the first person to pick from the lot,
yeah,
I would have said something's gone here.
Yeah.
Now he might have mentioned I didn't stay long enough. I didn't stay for the entire auction, so maybe at the end they didn't get to the teacups before I left.
Okay.
So maybe he did mention that before the bidding, saying, "Hey, I pulled something," but who knows? I don't know.
All right.
So yeah, I went to auction. I picked up a whole bunch of, guess what? Sealed McDonald's toys.
Oh, nice, buddy.
A huge box of them for $5.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
And I already comped them. None of them are really worth anything.
Nope.
But you know what was worth something in there, which is funny, is the the Disney Hercules cartoon?
Yeah.
They did a movie.
Was there plates in there?
There were plates.
So I've sold 2 lots of those now. So you can get like $150 if you have all 6. Yep.
Yeah, even they're plastic plates.
They're plastic. They're from McDonald's. I know. Yeah.
So those came. So they came in the lot for $5. I don't have all of them though. I only have 5, and one's damaged. So
okay. So sell the 4 of them. You'll still get $20, $25 a plate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a funny.
So I sold 2 lots. I had one where they're all 6, and I had one where there were 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I got $150, and I think I got $45 for the 3 of them, and $150 for all of them. Yep.
So yeah.
You didn't know about McDonald's plates, dude?
No, I did not know about McDonald's plates. Now I know about McDonald's plates.
I'm telling you, McDonald's rocks. You will do so well with those little images. You're gonna say, "I'm not believing Adam ever again." I'm just.
I was gonna troll, but I wasn't gonna mention his name. I don't think Adam listens to this anyway, so I think we're pretty safe.
Yeah, I don't care. He knows I'm just joking. But it's are they in the bags?
No.
Okay.
Better. Like when I comped them for the 6, I think it was like about 70 or 80 American, so about $100
for what?
For the plates for
No. But didn't you get toys too?
Oh yeah, I did get toys. None of them comped for anything.
No, but did you? Are the? That's what I meant was in the bags. So are the toys in the bags?
Yes.
So put $5 a toy.
Yeah, and put them in a box.
And put them in a box and label it McDonald's toys, dude. You'll be like amazed. You'll sell those before you sell the records for $10 a piece.
I should bet you on this, but we'll see.
They will sell. Don't expect them to sell. Like if you go the first weekend and nobody buys your McDonald's toys, Just say Scott was wrong. Don't
Yeah,
say
okay,
that.
I'll do that. Oh,
Give
don't
it
do that.
give it a little bit of time.
Yeah.
But once that right person comes here, dude, they'll buy like 4 or 5 of them. You know what I mean?
Well, hopefully they're popular ones. Like they're what are they? They're Hercules in there. Sesame, does that make sense? Like something. Oh, I don't even remember what it is.
Sesame
The-
Street ones they'll sell.
no, they
Hercules
weren't
they'll
Sesame.
probably sell. It's hard to say.
Yeah, there were some weird ones in Disney ones. So
Alvin and the Chipmunks. There's all sorts of ones that will sell
yeah.
for sure. The
Anyways,
Mario ones will
yeah.
sell. Like the Nintendo
Oh,
ones
I
will
didn't.
sell.
Yeah, I wish I had the Mario ones, but no.
Um. Anyway, it's
It's just hilarious that we'd be talking about that a lot, and then lo and behold, I got a big lot for $5.
for $5, dude. You're gonna make money on the plates.
Yeah, the plates were a nice surprise. Yeah,
Yeah,
I should just save that for my bolo.
yeah, that's a good one. I've sold, like I said, I call them lots, but one was 3 and one was the 6. So, yeah, I was surprised too when I first got them. But yeah, you'll see them out in yard sales now and then.
I know.
I never pick them up if it's just one. It's got to be a bunch, right? It's got to be a few of them. Although if they're like $1, maybe I should start picking them up and just hoard them until I get more. That's probably what I should start doing. Because every now and then you'll see like one out there, right? So,
Well, the nice thing is they're plastic. So, like, I know one of these somehow they broke one or cracked one, but really they should be pretty bulletproof. You'd think.
I if I
Maybe with
remember
wear,
correctly, and I could be
dishwasher.
wrong,
Yeah,
but I think both purchases were in Canada.
yeah,
So
yeah. Who knows?
yeah. So anyway, yeah, very good, very good. I like it. I like it, Carl. I like it. I'm gonna make you some money here, buddy.
What else? I picked up some stereo views. Nothing special yet. I got them for like 50 cents each. So
Okay.
they're okay. Like the old ones, like not the new Viewmaster, but the old stereo views. I sold one on the weekend, actually, my first one ever. $3. Woo!
At the booth?
Yeah, at the booth.
Yeah. That's kind of what they go for at where I'm at too, is about $3 a piece. But so, I don't know how some of these guys get, like, I gotta look more into it. But some of these guys are getting like $50 a piece and stuff like that. So I
There's
gotta
some
figure
rare
out.
ones. Yeah. Like when I went through them, I kind of handled it the same way that I do with postcards.
Yeah.
Just like if there's anything abnormal in there, I pulled it out and started comping them. But none of them were worth anything. But like, like one was like a boat, like a scene from China, like of them gathering rice and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like that one I pulled out just in case. It wasn't worth anything though. But I did buy a lot once where I did sell one for 30 or $40. I can't remember. And that went online and I sold that one and shipped it off, and that paid for the lot plus. So, but there was only unfortunately one unique one. I don't know if there's any. I have a feeling this auction might be a lot of like resellers also getting rid of all their excess inventory. So it's not. It's sometimes it is family, but I know for sure sometimes it's resellers getting rid of their dead stock. So you never know what you're going to pick up.
Yeah. Well, it's no different than what we're there for too, though, right? So
Yeah. I also picked up one of those old coin boxes, where there's a like open face and the guy takes a coin and puts it in his mouth.
Oh yeah.
But there's a reproduction. I knew it was a reproduction when I bought it.
Yeah.
So I paid too much. I paid 15. So
I mean, they're 20, 25.
yeah, I'll probably get my money back.
Yeah.
It's missing the bottom bit too, so that makes it even worse. But whatever, it's kind of cool looking in the booth. So I was like, okay, fine. I just wanted it. I just wanted it, to be honest.
I mean, it's always a pain when they're not complete, but most people they're shelf sitters anyways, right?
Yeah,
so they're
exactly.
display pieces. So,
I wouldn't pick that up again. I just picked it because I just wanted it. What upset me is the one thing I did want was this truly old tin toy of this little train that went around like back and forth along a rail. That was really cool. And of course that's what other people wanted too. And it went up to $75. And it's like, by the time you add commission and everything, that's $100. And I can't sell that for more than 150 at most.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't justify this. So I had to leave that one behind. But
I actually did an online auction, and I talked to you about this, but I picked up a bunch of old board games the war ones, and there were
Oh
some
yeah.
nice surprises in there. Now I knew a couple of them were going to be very, very good if they're complete, but they were actually unpunched.
Woo, that's even better.
Yeah, so they're cardboard pieces, and unpunched is they haven't been used, right? They
Well, the
haven't.
good thing about unpunched too is you don't have to bloody count them.
You don't have to count them 100%. Yes. Um, and the unpunched one, 100% complete, great condition, was one that's goes for about 450 bucks.
Wow.
So that was a nice surprise. So I think I got 399 on it or something like that. I might have put 400. I have to go back and check it out. But the other one, it's unpunched except for there was one row, and when I say row, like there's hundreds of these little cardboard pieces,
Yeah.
but there's one row of them which consisted of about maybe 20, and they had got folded and probably pushed upon accidentally where they became loose.
Yeah.
And these little squares are like half a centimeter by half a
I
centimeter.
know.
So they're so insignificant in
Yeah.
looks, but there's two little pieces missing. So I put 99.9% complete, and then in the description and in the photos, I clearly showed that there was these pieces missing. So I put it for 350. I mean, they're kind of all over the place a little bit, but I don't know for what reasons. But there was a fair amount, enough in there over $400, 425, 450, 417, that kind of price range, that I felt justified in saying that, okay, this is where I'm going to start. But because there were those little pieces missing, I put 350 on there as my starting position. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I mean, it's a really cool game. It's called The Longest Day, World War II game. But there was a bunch in there. I already sold one for $100. And it was drive on Stalingrad. So you can check that
Stalingrad.
out.
Yeah.
Stalingrad.
So it's funny, but I actually sold one just a couple days ago. The Arab-Israel wars. It's one of
Yeah.
the bookcase ones with all the little tiny pieces. I got 33.45 American, 33 and 45 cents American for that.
Was
That's
yours
probably,
unpunched?
no, it was punched, but that's
So
probably the lowest I
probably
would.
unpunched, you'd be at $100 too, right?
I don't know, but um,
Okay, I'm
that's
just kind
probably
of
as low as I would go for these games to pick them up, because counting the pieces is a pain in the butt,
yeah.
and often they lose pieces.
Yes.
And when you buy them from like auctions, like you did, like online auction,
You don't know
they
what you're
didn't
getting.
they didn't count them either. So
Right.
there's a lot of like, I won't pick up the cheap ones, but yeah, no, they I have a soft spot for these kind of games too, because I never played them as a kid and I always wanted to.
Yeah.
So they're kind of neat. Yeah, actually,
I'm glad I didn't waste my time because I looked at the instructions for the one and I'm just like, holy shit.
it's very nerdy.
Yeah, it's very, very nerdy. Like not just like I'd be interested in it. So I guess maybe I have that nerdy aspect, but I wouldn't have the patience to sit there
Oh
and learn it
no,
and read it and play it properly and try to explain it to someone else. Like I would
no.
lose my mind.
Like trying to find someone who actually wants to play this would be so hard.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's not
probably.
like a family game where you get together with the kids and play this. It's like no. There's two guys who both smell a little bad, drinking beer, still living in their parents' basement.
Yeah.
And I'm in that market, but it is really hard. Yeah,
Well, there's a reason they're unpunched, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's actually a really good point.
Right? Like
Uh,
there should be more unpunched out there. You should get a premium for saying this one was actually played with. you know?
but there's some really valuable ones out there, like you said. Like I have a Divine Rights that's worth a few $100. I have one next to me I need to actually count that's worth a few $100.
Well, the one I
Especially,
have that is complete. It's very minty, very very minty.
yeah,
The box, everything. Um, it's called Corsun, so Korsun Pocket. So it would have been a military game, and I guess it's based around a Soviet battle. with the Germans. Um, so I have that one for about $400, and that's in that condition. So we'll see if that one goes. Very good condition. There's another one about the battle in Italy, and they're all from the same maker. Like they all seem to be from the
Avalon
same.
Hills often, or
Yeah, yeah, yep.
TSR sometimes.
So
These games.
I'm very happy with it, especially when one sold within 24 hours of listing it. So the other two I have three listed, maybe three, like two of them I have listed now are pretty pricey, so it might take that right person, but they're getting views. And then the other ones are probably going to be around that $60 to $100 range. So
Yeah, I think
um,
I think
so
people
I
might
think
collect them.
yeah, I think they're going to be collectibles, right? So
Yeah, because like they made a ton of these with very low runs. And they were so cheap for the company to make, they could just pump these things out, right?
right.
Which they did. So, but it is very niche for sure. But yeah, if you see the package open, you can almost be guaranteed that some are lost. But sometimes I will keep them. Like Divine Rights, I have two to complete one of the sets, and there can be color variations between even within the same one as well.
Okay.
So yeah, but yeah, no, that I think they're fun. But yeah, yet it's like puzzles. Except you have to know if all the pieces are there, right? So yeah,
Yeah, and I have possible opportunity coming up where I can get a bunch of models like airplanes and ships and that
yeah,
kind of stuff.
yeah. What do you
But
think of models, by the way?
uh I was not overly interested in it, although the
No.
person has a lot, and the background I got was they just want to get rid of them. So I heard there could be 1,000 of them.
Oh,
So
are they sealed or not sealed?
the problem is probably 90% are not
Oh,
sealed.
oh,
So, but
yeah,
the guy was saying that the person was pretty adamant that they're there,
yeah,
and but
yeah.
I know this is what I said, Carl. I said like I can't do that, right? I don't know. I said so the where I would be coming from is if I could get them like dirt cheap, like a
Yeah,
buck a piece.
a bucket piece. I would not go higher than that.
Yeah.
It's so much work,
Well, that's what I said,
and then
and
they get upset because they spend $20 each. And
but they just want to get rid of them, and they're probably having a
okay,
hard time unloading them. So I'm like, if I
yeah,
could get them for like a buck a piece, I would. I'd put a lot of them in the booth, right?
oh yeah,
And I could put a lot of them in the booth,
yeah,
take up little space,
yeah.
and then cherry pick some of the better ones for online, especially if they happen to be a few sealed ones in there. But it would still like I said, I wasn't overly keen on it. I said to me it's like puzzles. It's like I can't tell if there's a piece missing in an open puzzle. You know what I mean? So
And you
if
can't
they're
even count the
sealed, it's
pieces.
a
Yeah,
different story. So
yeah. You can't even count the pieces and puzzles because they just estimate how many puzzle pieces are on the. When they say 1,500 to 2,000, it could be 2005. It could be 1995.
well,
You
and
don't, you
some
can't
of
even
them go,
count them.
and some of them say like over 600 pieces,
Yeah, you
right?
can't
So
use
it's
that
like,
count.
okay, what does
You can't
that
even
mean?
count. Yeah, I know. You have to do
Yeah,
the puzzle.
you have to do
You
the
have to do
puzzle.
the puzzle, right?
So
So, or you sell
um,
as is. But yeah,
I have seen them sell though by saying like uh, unsure if it's complete or but
I got,
if they're
I
a
got,
rare enough puzzle,
yeah, yeah.
people will still buy them for
I got
decent money.
$150. I got 150 for one,
Yeah,
and a Ravensburger, which is the better brand. The higher the count, people like high counts. And I sold that. I said in the listing, I said I can almost guarantee something's missing. I have no idea. You're buying as is. Just assume there's stuff missing, so you're not upset. I got 150 for it. So, and that had been sitting on the shelf because no one else wanted to deal with it because puzzles are horrible. But I knew this one was old, and I knew it was a good brand, and I knew it was a high count, so I picked it up. But that's the only example I have for puzzles. I will buy them if they're sealed and there's actually demand for them. But even then, they sit for models. I stay away if they're open now. Like
yeah,
I might look inside. Like if it's a valuable model, I'll look inside and see if the pieces inside are sealed. Because sometimes you see that, but half the time you see a half completed model in there. I won't touch those at all. The
Yeah,
big boat ones can be good too, but
I honestly, even if they're sealed, don't really care for them a whole lot unless they're like great big models, like the bigger ones. Like, but
well,
they're
they were
still
cheap.
cost.
Yeah,
What's that?
the small ones were cheap.
The
Like you were
small
buying
ones.
them new for $10 or
Yeah,
$15.
yeah,
Yeah,
and people usually want at least what they're worth at the yard sale, right? They think that's a
they
really
do.
nice hot rod. They want $15 for it,
Exactly. It's
right?
one of those weird categories
Yeah,
that people overvalue what they have,
yeah. So
and then
I,
they get insulted.
but I did buy one of the bigger ones
Yeah,
this year in 2024. Um, I paid $20 at a yard sale, factory sealed, and I sold it for $150. So and
yeah.
it went to North Carolina, but it was the oversized one. It was the bigger one, right?
The big ones I will check, especially if sealed, but even unsealed, I might check. Saying all that, I did sell boat one in pieces, and I had a weird situation. So it was a large Titanic or whatever the hell it was, a big boat.
Yeah,
And I thought, well, this is early in my career. I'll buy this thing. It was cheap, and I'll just like see if I can sell the parts. So I kept selling parts to this one guy in the United States, and then someone said, "Okay, I'll take the rest." So I sold them the rest, and then the original guy from the States is like, "Well, I want to complete the set." It's like, were you buying one piece at a time? What were you doing? It's kind of weird. Who knows?
oh my god,
People
that's
out there are
hilarious.
weird, eh? Like, what do you mean I don't have it? Like, yeah, I sold the rest. Like, I wasn't selling it bit by bit so you could afford to do a piece a month or something. I don't know. But yeah, models
Oh,
are one of those things too. It's like you wish they were really great, but they're just usually not.
yeah.
Uh,
Uh, they do look cool, but
yeah.
and I'm sure there's exceptions to every like there's always exceptions out there. I'm sure there's some really good ones out there for whatever reason, but from what I've seen, most of them aren't like aren't that much.
I don't get too excited when I see a model. Just
No,
the nerdy side of me does a little bit,
yeah,
especially
yeah.
if it's like a tank or something. It's like, ooh, a tank. But
And if you're finding them sealed or not done, but maybe even open but not completed, there's a reason for that,
yeah,
right?
the idea is better than the reality of trying to glue these little pieces
Yeah,
together.
yeah. But no, I had some really good sales.
Yeah.
Soon as Canada Post opened up, it seemed like the floodgates. Like it was crazy there for a little bit. Um, I mean, there was one day I had like 21 orders, another day I had 11 or so, and it just like there was a lot of orders, and now going into like I mean, I think I had 6 yesterday. You know what I mean? So they're still pretty decent. Um, I sold some good ones too. That Royal Dalton. This one's a little bit of a weird one. Remember that Royal Dalton? It was that tall figure, and I
Yeah, I do.
totally
The Morak
the Moor. It was
more.
called like
Yeah.
Moor or something. Moor,
Yeah.
Moor. Uh, I got $600 for that.
Christ. Are you
Uh,
watching the tracking on that one?
so funny that you said that, Carl. Because so I had a I had a comment saying this is an amazing figure or like awesome, like it's awesome figure or something, right? Like big write up about it in the comments, and I'm like, wow, that got there quick. So I go and check, it's still not there.
Sometimes tracking can be inaccurate.
Or she bought two of them by mistake, didn't realize it, and she got the one and give me the feedback. Like
Well, you got the feedback, so
that's not
sucker.
where it is, but
But
that's what came to my mind. But
honestly, I have seen tracking not being quite up to date. It's
I
rare.
hope that's what happened.
Yeah, but I have seen that, and because I've had the same thing. It's like they got it, and it's like great feedback, and it's like it doesn't even show that it's being delivered yet.
Yeah.
So I don't know why that happens. Like I never check tracking, like we talked about before. So maybe it happens quite a bit, but so it might be legit. I don't know why they would want to do that otherwise.
Unless they bought two of them and give me the feedback by
No.
accident. And I'm thinking, she hasn't even got it. So what do I do if she's like, oh, I accidentally bought two of them and yours just got delivered today, but I didn't mean to buy that. Like, what would you do then? But she already gave you positive feedback.
I would let them ship it back. I'd be very upset.
So that's where
I'm not into fighting customers. Like,
no, I know. I agree.
And I'm not saying you are either. I'm just saying,
yeah.
You hear that sometimes resellers fighting these guys on the stuff. It's like, It's for me. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's like fine. Don't get me wrong. It sucks. And I'm
Well,
not.
that hasn't happened. I'm just saying.
I know.
I'm like, oh my god, this could happen. So
My favorite one was the person where I sent them like that soap thing there. What's it called? Bubbles, something bubbles, scrubbing bubbles.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they gave me they opened a return saying it doesn't work, and they didn't even get it yet, and they legitimately didn't even receive the item yet, and I don't know what was up with that. And then they got it, and then I talked to eBay, and it's like they haven't received it yet. And they said, well, wait till they received it. And then they received it and said it didn't work. And it's like, wow, they have precognition that it didn't work. So there's BS like that, out there.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do? I think eBay came in and split it 50-50 or whatever, gave me my money and her money. And so yeah, but it's the best feeling in the world is when you ship off that expensive thing and you get the positive feedback. You're like, it's not coming back. It didn't
No,
get broken. No
yeah.
BS. It's like, $600 is a lot of money to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
But congrats, that's awesome.
The Mad Ball, the
Oh yeah,
basketball one, is
yeah, yeah.
sold $250.
To that guy who tried to like renegotiate after you negotiated, or is it
No, it's a different guy.
a different
But,
guy? Okay.
but it's funny how it sold for $250, right? I might as well just sold it to that guy because I tried to squeeze out more, but I ended up dropping it to 275, and then somebody came in, so I put a little discount on it and went to 250. So they accepted it. So I got $15 into it, so I'm super happy with that.
Bugger.
But I'm selling more of that robot. I sold a couple pieces recently
Heath kit, yeah.
of that Heath kit robot, and so I'm pretty happy with that too. And those are all $150, $200 pieces.
That's amazing. I think I don't remember if we were skeptical at the time, but we're kind of like, are you really going to get that kind of money? And then, yes, you did.
Yeah,
But
I knew I was. I do it all the time.
I knew you knew. But
the only problem I had was what's better, parting it out or selling it as a whole.
Yeah.
I even had it in the booth for $1,800, but I've well surpassed that just in the parts, and I haven't sold all the parts yet. So
it's getting rid of the last parts, but who cares?
Dude, I don't care now. It's like it's sitting in the next to those insoles. Right?
What were they? Someone says this in the reselling community. Is like, if in doubt, part it out. Like
Yeah.
even today or yesterday, I sold a parts for the Clue 1963 board game, just the little parts, and I got 15 American for it. It's better than shipping that entire big board game. It was just like all the little weapons and pieces, and it's like it also went Canada Light Post, which is really nice too.
So I had 225 on this. It's the top. It'd be the exterior of this robot. It was the top plastic part, but it's quite large.
Yeah.
Double the size of a frisbee type thing. Kind of roundish. So I had 225, and the guy said, "Would you do a little bit less?" And I almost put I'm like, do I put 150? Do I put 175? Like how far should I go? So I thought, you know what? I'm going to let him do that. So I've opened up the listing to accept offers. If you want to put your offer in, feel free. So he put $190.
Oh, hey!
And I'm like, yeah, yeah, I'll do that.
See, that's why you should always have them say the price first.
Yes, well, in this case for sure. But I didn't want to go back and forth. But I'm just like,
often because a lot of times when you go back and forth, there's no fourth. There's
Yeah.
only the back, and then you never hear again, right?
Well, because a lot of times these guys know too, right? And I'll do the back and forth. Like I'll do the they're going to put in a lower offer, expecting me to come up, but I'm like, well, what do I come up, right? Like, do I come up $10? Well, why? Who cares about the $10?
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, so I just Anyway, but
it's a smart way of doing things. But I'm enjoying all this negotiation, like psychology.
Yeah.
because I'm doing it so much more now at the booth. It's like, okay, what do I do here? What do I do there? And you
So,
know,
but usually I try to throw out a price, but I was struggling with this one because I wasn't sure what to do,
yeah,
and so 190 bucks, I was pretty happy that he
yeah,
came out. So basically, he just wanted free shipping, right?
yeah. Well, there you go.
So because I think I got 20 or 25 on the shipping because it's actually quite large,
Yeah,
but for $200 range, like I'm still well good. Even if it's going to cost me a little bit more than 25 bucks. But I mean, I do have 25 bucks on top of that for shipping. So like it's going to be a good sale. Um, I also got a really good feedback on uh, the what do you call those things? Those lamps that have the wax in them, that lava lamp.
lava lamp. Yeah, yeah.
So I sold that for $400.
And that was going fairly
Close.
close
Yeah. But the
ish.
person
Yeah.
gave me a great review.
Oh, nice.
So happy, blah blah blah, packed so well, and it said Scott rocks.
Oh, I wonder if it's someone who knows you. You never know,
Well,
but people have used my name too. I must admit.
it's Scott Sell Stuff is my right. So my store
Yeah,
is
yeah,
Scott Sell Stuff on eBay.
yeah,
So Scott,
yeah,
and whenever I'm messaging back and forth, I put thank you Scott or sincerely
yeah. I do
Scott in the
too.
message.
Yeah,
So
make it
I
more
could have done
personal.
that in a previous message or something. But
Yeah,
anyway, but she was very happy with it. So that's awesome. Like those big sales, I think you've said it before, and I agree with it, Carl. Like usually the bigger sales are less problematic than the smaller sales. You know what I mean?
yeah.
For whatever reason, but
Well, the reason is those people have money and they're willing to spend it. They're just less trying to find an angle. Does that make sense?
yeah, they're like you want to say less picky, but I don't think that's the case.
No, that's not the
I
case.
think that when you're selling something that big, you probably put a little bit more emphasis on the quality, that high product. You know what I mean? Because like I personally, if I know someone's spending good money on, I want to make sure that that product is what they're spending that money on.
That's true.
You know what
That's
I mean?
true. Yeah, I know. I
So
do know what
if
you
it's
mean.
$30, it's like,
Eh,
yeah, it's thirty
I
bucks.
was close enough. It might be missing a piece. It's okay. I'm
But
teasing, but there's a bit of that too.
yeah,
Like you're
so
pumping. If you're selling things for $15, you're just pumping through listings, right? You're
yeah,
not really maybe looking quite as close as you should. If something's worth $500, you can damn well on checking that thing.
yeah, and it's worth putting that extra time in it for 24 photos,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
cropping them and
yeah.
listing everything because it's $400. So if I got to put a whole hour into that, it's worth it still, you
Yes,
know.
exactly,
But if it's $30, I don't want to put more than 5 minutes into that sucker,
exactly, exactly, including packing.
including backing. So, um,
Yeah, I
so
get that.
anyways, so I was really happy with that,
Oh, nice,
and
nice big
and
sales you've been having. Like
yeah,
good.
and so it's been pretty decent. So
Wow.
yeah, um, so that's about where it is there. The booth is maintaining, although it was not a spectacular Christmas for the booth. It was well maintained. It was right in line with things, but it didn't it didn't go like super crazy or anything. Like I think last year was way better.
So this is a good thing about being diversified, right? Because
Yes.
you're much more into eBay now too. So you could make the argument that maybe some of your higher stuff that would have gone in the booth is going online now too. Is that fair?
I actually, I mean, you're not wrong. It just I don't know if I'm like maybe I'm putting the wrong stuff that's higher end in the booth. Like say for instance, like I have a $200 video game that's not sold in the booth, but I think it would be sold overnight online. It's a
Yes.
Silent Hill, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do put higher end stuff in the booth. I had a Quaker State sign from the 40s, maybe 50s. It sold for $400,
That's
right?
less likely. That's much more less likely to sell online because of the shipping hassle, though.
Oh, dude, this would not go online. But I'm still saying that higher end stuff is selling
I
at the
know,
booth.
but you're putting less higher end, smaller stuff. I'm just
Uh,
guessing. I'm just conversation wise, right? Because that's how
okay.
I look at it. Like when
I
I come to
have,
my flea market, right? I if I got a big Pez collection, right, which is comp that's going in. None
yeah,
are worth more than $3 to $5, But if I had found one and were worth 50 to 100, I'm not taking that to the booth because I think the people in there are not going to buy it. I would have put that online. So,
I'm gonna say, like, I'm selling stuff in the $100, $150 range on in the
in
store.
the antique market, yeah.
Yeah. Um, but I also have stuff that hasn't sold there as well. So that I should put online. Like I know I got the Iron Maiden bobblehead set. Um, Sorry, not bobblehead. They might be bobbleheads, but they're Funko. I have $110 on them. That's kind of, I think they sell for 125. Mint in the package. There's no weird reason they shouldn't be online. But I tried to put them in the booth, and they're not moving. Um, I have the what is that? Lord of the Rings, the 5-piece set, like $100. It's 100 or 125 online as well. So I think they're a McFarlane toy set.
Right.
That should have moved out of the booth, and it's not. So
Mm.
so you're right in the respect of saying that maybe the stuff isn't they're selling online, but I'm still putting stuff on there, but maybe I'm putting the wrong stuff. Like if I was to put that $400 lava lamp, that might have sold out of the booth. I don't know if it would have sold for $400, but you know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah, and the weird thing is,
it's hard to say what exactly should be in there at high ends. You know what I mean? But
the
at the
weird
same
thing too
time,
is,
the $40 McFarlane toys are selling
yeah,
pretty decently,
yeah.
right? So it's really it's always a struggle. Um,
You think with the Canada Post strike too, like booth sales would actually have been higher.
I would have thought so.
Yeah.
Yep, I would have thought so too. And maybe they were, Carl. Maybe they were.
Oh, and they would be much lower
They
if
would have been
like
much lower.
didn't happen. Right?
That's an interesting point. I never thought about that. But my video game stuff is not selling out of the booth, the consoles. Um and
It's
they're
funny. It's funny if you're like, I didn't sell any records like when I brought them in from my buddy there.
yeah,
I didn't sell any for 2 months.
and then all of a sudden
And
they started selling.
last 2 or 3 weeks, I've been selling over $100 of records every Sunday, which is good for me. So it's like it's just weird. Who knows?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know what's going on. Um
The other thing too is like when I'm bringing stuff in, if I decided to bring into the flea market booth or online, like for example, Smurfs. Okay, so I sold a Smurf. This lady comes in once in a while and she has a big booklet of what she has. It's like my little Bolo book, my Bolo book. She
yeah.
has the equivalent for Smurfs of pictures of all the Smurfs and if she has them or not. So
Wow. You and the Skylanders
yeah, exactly.
switch books.
Oh, I actually have a Smurf book here.
Oh, okay.
So anyways, she comes through once in a while and I have a
You got a
great
McDonald's toys book? You're
no,
going to.
I'm going to. It's going to show the records so far. I mean the plates,
The plates, yes.
Um, so you distracted me. Oh yeah, Smurfs, right? This high end Smurfs. I won't I have all the Smurfs in like this great display unit, and I'm asking $7 a Smurf. I usually get between $5 and $7. Like I gave her this one for $5 because there's a little thing on the nose. My point being, if I get like the rare Smurfs, the $40 to $50, I kind of don't want to bring them there because I don't want to have them separate from that collection. You know what I mean? Like I kind of like having all the great condition, but still 5 to 7 all in one place. I don't want odds because I want to kind of like, when I had them in that display unit, they might sell in real life between $3 and $10, right? The value, but I just put them all in at 7 because I don't want to worry about like getting nitty picky, on that type of item.
Yeah.
And I can't be bothered to put a little price tag of 3 and a little price tag of 10 on another one. I just put like one generic price tag, all Smurfs $7, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And if there's something, like I said, really rare, I'm not even going to bring it.
Yeah. No, that's probably similar to what I do. It's like the records. I don't want to sit there and put different. I just do $10 every record. I used to do 6, and now I'm doing inflation, right, Carl? So now it's $10 a record.
All the records he has is between 15 and 40, but
Yeah,
they're all individually priced. Yeah.
but I'm not. I don't want to go through every record and look for every little scratch. So what I'll do is I'll just take it out, do a quick check to make sure it's not like ridiculous, make sure it's the right record and everything, and put it in there, and it's all $10. And the buyers, they go in there, they're going to look for the condition anyway, right? Like that's what they do. How do I know that? Because sometimes you got people in there that don't put the records back properly.
Yeah.
Um, so I try to keep the condition like fairly decent, that's for sure. But it doesn't mean that there won't be like a little nick here and there, like a little mark. But everybody comes in and checks the records, anyways. That's what record guys do.
Oh yeah,
And
the
they'll
records
spend
are constantly
hours
being.
going through the
Oh,
mall looking
all
for
of them.
records.
When I'm there on Sundays, they just flip through all of them one by one,
Yeah.
and it's like they don't usually ask, "Do you have this?" Once in a while, they might ask, "Do you have this?" But honestly, they're just going and trying to see what they don't have, I think, or who knows what criteria. And people are giving me bolos on the records too. It's like, oh, if you see this one and it's like a blue label inside is worth $100, like so. It's which is great. I love that actually.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
nice to be
100%.
taught if I'm sitting there, right? But yeah.
I don't see many records in the wild anymore. Like they get picked up so
Oh,
quickly. It's so hard. So hard
yeah.
to figure out.
I yeah, I agree. I think the popularity's come down a little bit, is my impression, but it's still popular stuff. I used to make a joke. I never look at records because every time I go, there's 1,000 guys flipping through every single record.
Yeah.
If there's anything there, they're going to get screened out pretty quick, in my opinion. But people are still looking, so they must be finding something.
And I it wouldn't be a complete show if I don't mention this, Carl. But online, those toy soldiers are selling pretty good.
Oh, good. Hey, I'm glad the market. You haven't collapsed the market yet.
I have
You go
not collapsed
handily?
the market. However,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where I'm doing 10 of those a day, and I'm going into 2025 now that we're here. I know your cars are gonna say that's pretty tough to do, but it's my goal is to do 20 listings
If
a
you're going
day.
to say 20, I'm going to say that's pretty tough to do.
So 10 of them are toy soldiers. I can
Right.
do 10 toy soldiers in a couple of hours easily because they're just so similar, right? So I'm going to do 10 Britons. I'm going to do 10 King and Country, 10
Yeah.
Legions.
Yeah.
So it's all basically the same thing. So my goal is to do 10 toy soldiers a day, and I want to do 10 other items. It could be 10 board games, or it could be 2 board games, 2 Coleman lanterns, 2 fountain pens, 1, I don't know, brass candle sconce or wall sconce or something like that. But I just want to try to keep I want to do 5 days a week, 20 items a day for 5 days a week. That's my goal into 2025. I'm not going to hit it every day. I know that.
But you know what? You reach for the stars and you hit the moon, right? So
If I can't do at least 10 toy soldiers a day, I shouldn't be doing this job. You know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying, Carl?
I know what you're saying. Yeah. I think it's great. I don't mean to be discouraging. I was just, when we talked about 20 a day, I was just saying if it's random items, that's
well,
really
it's
hard.
not. It's while I have the toy soldiers.
Yeah.
But,
If you have the 10, I can, like these stereo views I have next to me, I could definitely do 20 a day. Or postcards, I can do, 50 a day.
yeah.
Really, but if I'm doing board games, like the ones where you have to count the little square cardboard pieces, I can do like 1 a day.
Well, so let me just try to push a little emphasis on the values too. Like, I don't want to do 10 items for the sake of 10 items. Like these toy soldiers, minimum $30.
Yeah,
but they're also
300. Yeah,
$35, $45. And then you get into some of the King and Country. These are the very basic $30 to $45 is the very basic Britons. But they're still in their packages. But when I get to King of Country, they're 100, 300, 200, So but they're still the same type of figure. So they're in the box, easy to list. They're
Yeah,
all the same. So my goal is to do the 20 listings, but my values are actually going to be over $1,000. They might even be, some days they might be $3,000 of listings in one day.
that's crazy.
But I have to, like, I'm not retired. You are. So I have to keep my mind set in that if I'm working 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. If I'm at Toyota, it's 10 hours a day, it's 9 hours a day, plus an hour there, an hour back, plus you got half an hour lunch and you got to make your lunch and all sorts of different things that come into play to make your whole day basically a 12-hour day. You know what I mean? You get there
Mhm.
half an hour early, blah, blah, blah. So if I was to put 8 hours here at the house listing as opposed to a 12-hour day of preparing, working, and getting home. You know what I mean? Like, I need to be able to focus on 8 hours of listing. And if I can do that, 20 items a day is very, very manageable if I can focus on that 8 hours a day. So life gets in the way. I'm talking about 5 days a week. So if I have a day where I got to go picking on a Wednesday or a Thursday, that means I got to make up that day on a Saturday or a Sunday. You know what I mean?
Whatever works
Or
for you. Like part of the joy for people who do this is the flexibility that we have.
yes, and I like that as well. Or maybe 5 days isn't going to work this week, so maybe I have to do 10 hours, 4 days, and
Yeah.
then make up any exist.
Well,
Like I have to find a way
yeah.
to get my 40 hours in a week,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
8 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Or even
If
if it's not the 40 hours, it's to get the gross listings you need up that makes you enough of an income that you feel comfortable with. Because you could do one item that's worth $10,000 a day. It's much better than,
yeah, but
you know
I
what I'm
mean,
trying to say?
realistically, those items aren't coming
No,
along,
I
right?
know, I know, I know.
So,
I just
so so I understand what you're saying, but my whole goal is like Toyota doesn't say, okay, you've made you
no.
know 20
You
cars today, you can go
yeah.
home now.
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
you know what I mean? You're
Yeah,
there
yeah.
for the time. So
It's a little different there, yeah.
yeah, so I want to kind of make it into that type of job. Like it's not a job to me. I actually enjoy doing it, but I have to stop the distractions from pulling me from doing what I like to do.
Good
You
luck
know,
with
if
that.
I was out fishing, I'm
Yeah,
not going to come home
right.
to,
Get a
do
coffee.
something here and then go back fishing. I'm
No.
fishing for those hours that I'm there.
What
So I
what
need
would
to
you
be
do if
good.
you were a fisherman and you needed a coffee? Would you take the boat back to McDonald's?
I don't need a coffee when I'm out fishing, dude.
Oh, right. Okay.
Like,
The
okay, if I really going to need a coffee, I'll take a thermos or something with me, right? In a
reason
backpack.
I'm asking this is before the show, Scott always has a coffee either from McDonald's or from Timmy's. So
Oh yeah.
obviously
Well,
you're
I only
going
took
out.
it with me, but I could have took a thermos. I could
You
have
always
taken.
go out in the morning to get the coffee and then come back and do the show.
And then after the show, I'll go grab another one.
Oh no! So really, you're supporting the local Timmy's franchise.
Yes, so I have to sell more to
I
drink
know.
more.
Sorry, I got as distracted there. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like, that's my Excel sheet is basically what you're talking about there, right?
I
In a
don't
way, it
want to
is.
take. I don't want to take an hour to do an Excel sheet.
Well, in a
To
way, it is though,
yeah.
right? And it's just
Well,
that you're doing it in your head.
I'm doing, and that's the conversation we had about this the last time we brought up the Excel sheet. Is I do it in my head, right? So
Right. Oh man, I just realized this is the first of the show. Aren't we supposed to do like some type of like special looking back at the past year show? Oh well.
the what?
And
Say that
well,
again.
like these podcasts, they always do these like special year the end year
Oh, I
shows.
see
We
what you're
didn't even
saying.
think of doing that. Oh
Well,
well.
we the future's so bright. We just look forward, Carl.
Okay, and we're not very disciplined actually doing the homework that required of those shows.
Yeah, I never did homework, dude. Don't even get going on that. Uh, but anyway, yes. So anyway, so that's my goal. That's my goal to 2025. It's not a
Okay.
New Year's resolution. It's looking forward. You know what? I think ah, this is going to sound so non-humbling, but I'm very humble. I'm very understanding of where all this has started and going and learning, and very thankful for guys like you, Adam, and the guys at the booth for, you guys raised me. You know what I mean? In different aspects of reselling, and I'm very
I'm
thankful for
very
that.
helpful for the energy I get from you, or like people like Craig and Rick, or like my mentor at the flea market, or the new friends I've met at the flea markets. Like all of that stuff is
It
so
100%.
energetic and powerful and positive, right?
Yeah,
And it makes a
100%.
huge difference. And doing this podcast every week and like gaining comments, and it gives me energy when I don't feel like doing it. It gives me a bit more to get through that day, and
Yeah,
I'm
and I'm
appreciative.
very, very thankful for all of that. And I think it's put me in a position, and I hate to jinx it by talking about it, but we kind of touched base upon it last show where it's kind of on all cylinders right now. So right now, going into 2025, how successful that year is up to me.
It
It's
is.
up to my discipline of all this stuff that I've gained over the last few years is to push it into 2025. And I really, really focused. Doesn't mean I don't get distracted. It doesn't mean that that may happen. But I'm going to try to rein myself back in. Every week we talk about this, I'm going to gauge my I don't want to call it success, but let's just say my like if things don't sell, things aren't not selling. That's kind of out of my control. But my control of things is to list. And if I'm not doing my part, then the rest of the stuff isn't going to work as much as I want.
Yeah.
So my goal for 2025 really is to focus on 20 listings. So if it takes me 8 hours and I've only done 18 listings, I mean, okay, I put my 8 hours in. Something happened along the way, like maybe something was very difficult to put together, to count, to make sure it's complete, whatever the clean, whatever. But at least I put my 8 hours in. Would I be better off to put in 10 hours and get my extra couple of listings up? 100%. Maybe I'll throw in an extra 3 toy soldiers if I have them, or 3 fountain pens, or something very easy to list. That's an option too. But I really, really want to focus on 8 hours a day, 20 listings minimum per day for 5 days a week, which gives me about 100 listings a week. Right. So if I don't do a full 20 listings on one day, I somewhere catch up on that throughout that week. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
I think it's a good way of looking at it.
And I'm gonna gauge how well that does every week, every day, but basically every week, and then obviously every month. And then I think at the
Oh, are
end
you
of the,
going to report back on the podcast how many you've listed?
well, if you want to ask me, I will completely. Well, I'll be transparent. Anybody can just go to my store and check it out. But that is that is where my mindset is to the picking's always there. The picking's number one.
Yeah.
But my mindset is not just about the picking, it needs to be about the listing. And
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of in a mindset where I like to see my listings because I'm seeing results. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
when I'm listing more a day, like consistently each day, my sales represent that. So I kind of rambling on, but that's where I want to go with this. That's where I want to be, and I want to see what I can do at the end of the year.
Great. That's right. My goal is to clean up my basement.
Well, that's a good goal. But I think if I maintain my goal, then my
Yeah,
basement gets clean too.
I think so.
Right? Like I can either take all this stuff and put 20 items a day in the garbage, or I could put 20 items a day on eBay. The
What do you
basement's gonna get clean no matter what I do.
What do you do with stuff like that? Like I get a lot of this crap. Like what right now I'm showing a board game called Tribond, which is probably worth nothing. But I get in these big lots. Like I don't even know if it's worth counting the pieces for the booth.
Dude, if it's like $10 or less, it's being donated. I
Okay.
wouldn't have bought a lot for that game. I would have bought a
No,
lot.
it came in the lot, right?
Yeah.
But I
So
get a lot of this stuff.
yeah. So if it's worth your time to check the pieces and put it in the booth just to see what kind of stuff will sell there, you might have a gold mine. You might all of a sudden realize, holy crapes, like people are coming for these games. That doesn't really sell much in my
No,
booth.
no.
But for some reason,
That's
Goodwill
good.
and all those guys, their Value Village, they must be doing well with games because they got games,
Oh my
huge
God.
section of games.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's all about the price. So if you want to count the pieces,
Ugh,
and like those pieces are going to be easier to count than those games we were talking about earlier, because
that's true.
so if it takes 5 minutes to make $10, you got 10 games there. There's an hour, but if you're selling them for $10 a game and you got 10, that's $100,
That's
right?
why I really want the double booth where I have room to actually do that while I'm at the booth
Yeah,
and just sitting. There's no customers, and I
yeah,
just that like to me. That's why I'm really emphasizing that, because it's like I would love to have a little spot, like with a little desk, a little off to the side where I can actually have room and then just count, like
yeah,
just do all that grunt work that I might as well do since I'm there anyways.
yeah.
Maybe
Even if you do, what are you there for? 5, 6 hours?
8 hours.
8 hours. So even if you do 2 hours of doing some
No,
sort of
6 hours. What am I talking about? No. 8 hours. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
so
Sorry.
even if two, like, because you're going to be talking, you're going to be with customers, but if over the course of the day you get 2 hours or an hour of stuff done,
Yeah, that'd be great.
that'd be great, right? Like here's 10 boards and you do three of them that weekend. At least you got three of them out of the way. They're right there anyways. You put them on the shelf, right? So yeah, that's pretty interesting, right? Especially, and if it's a boring day, you're going to get more done. So at least you feel productive,
Yeah, exactly.
right? So,
Yeah.
the board games just don't do that well.
I actually asked another booth holder on last Sunday, because he has a lot of toys and stuff like I do, and I was talking to him, and I said, "How do the board games do for you?" And he said, "Honestly, not that well." He says, "I
Yeah,
only put them here because I have them. Otherwise, I don't really deal with them, because I think these games are so common that you can go to Value Village anytime and find them there for like $5.
yeah.
Uh,
So it
but
might be more worth a coupon for you than it is.
yeah, exactly what I was thinking too.
Yeah,
Anywho,
I mean you're basically got them thrown on your lap. It's not like
no,
you don't have investment into them because you were there for a different
I was there
different.
for Hero Quest.
Yeah,
I bought Hero Quest,
yeah.
right?
So there you go, bud.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, but
Like
it's just,
if I saw something old or odd, maybe I'd throw it in the booth. Like
yeah,
I sold an old Pin the Tail and the Donkey, but it's from the 40s, and I got like $35 or something like that online,
yeah,
and it was missing two tails.
yeah,
But I think they want it for a display piece. It's a Canadian game, but
yeah.
it's Pin the Tail and the Donkey. It's like a blanket and a bunch of tails, and there's a picture of a donkey on the.
That stuff is fine. It's like this stuff here. Like I got Boulder Dash. Like everyone has Boulder Dash, or like Canadian Trivia or Cranium. Like I get so much of that stuff because it comes with other stuff.
Yeah.
But can we pause
Yep.
here?
Yep.
I just have to go upstairs for a little bit.
Anything else you want to talk about, Carl?
No, I think nothing. Like I said, I talked about the booth, talked about the auction, talked about
Any changes coming into 2025?
oh, any changes. I'm trying a new thing.
What are you trying?
So my major problem is motivation, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to use boredom. So
What? I don't even know. I don't know. I'm scared to ask, but I can ask. What's that? What do you mean?
so the boredom technique, which I totally made up,
Okay.
is I'm not allowed using my laptop until noon. And the reason for that, so I have two areas where I hang out in the house really. One is in the living room on my laptop, and one is in the basement where I am now, where I do work. I never just hanging out in the basement. Well, I shouldn't. Sometimes I might, but really, I'm not. If I'm down here and doing work, right? So the rule is when I get up in the morning, I have my breakfast and all that stuff, but I don't go on my laptop or my cell phone, because the second I do that, I lose half the day, because I can be on there for like 6 hours watching YouTube, and then before I know it, the day is done and I've wasted it.
Yes.
So I'm using the power of boredom. So basically, I can do whatever I want before noon, but it has to either be eBay related or like other crap I have to do, like fill out forms or like I don't empty the dishwasher or whatever, that sort of like non just sit on the laptop stuff. Because that stuff like that social media like Reddit or YouTube or
Is bad.
Facebook,
Is
it
horrible.
it draws me in. It won't let
Yeah.
go.
It won't let go.
And it's depressing
Yeah.
because I end up reading horrible things and feeling bad. Like I've been talking to my brother-in-law, and I like to call it blissful ignorance, where he doesn't know what the hell's going on, right? But it's on purpose. It's not like from ignorance. It's blissful ignorance because he makes sure, because I think he probably has a lot of ADHD too, but he spends all his time doing other stuff outside or working on stuff. And I'm not going to pretend I'm going to be that guy. And I'm not that guy who goes out into the woods and like, I don't know, starts cutting down trees just for the hell of it. Like that's not me. But it would be nice not to spend all day on the laptop.
But there is a large amount of truth to what you're saying, in that productive people aren't any more productive than you. It's just you're productive in useless stuff
Yes.
that means nothing, except for the person that's writing or distracting you with that entertainment. But their productivity goes into something that they can actually
Feel
judge.
good about.
You
But
know,
not
yeah,
even like it's not even about
like,
money. It's not about like making money on eBay or whatever. It's about feeling good about yourself. Because when I sit on that laptop all day and I'm reading horrible things on Reddit or reading horrible things, watching horrible videos on YouTube, I don't feel good.
right.
And I think for me, especially mentally, it's rotten candy I'm eating all day.
Yeah.
So and I'm not saying I can eliminate it, because let's be honest, that ain't happening either, right? But if I can stay off until noon, that's good enough. At least I have that 3 or 4 hours of actually doing stuff that makes me feel good. When I go to bed at night, when you go to bed at night, I want to be able to say, okay, I did this, this, and this today. I don't want to be like, I did nothing, because it makes me feel bad.
Well, you know what? Put yourself, like, I've asked. It's funny we brought this up because this was probably a day or two ago that I've sat there and I was watching something. I think I was watching. Okay, this is going to sound really stupid, but I was watching about those drones in New
You're
Jersey,
going to say UFOs. Yeah.
and then it came to UFOs, and it came to
Yeah.
this woman who moved to Alaska, and she
Yeah.
was a photographer, and she was just taking pictures of stuff, and there happened to be two UFOs in the background.
Yeah.
And she didn't even realize it, but she framed one of her photos and someone picked it out. So then she went back to her computer and blew it up, and then they couldn't figure out what it was. And then she found another photo because of that one that had a similar image in it, but it was taken at a different time. So I'm like, going down this rabbit hole.
The rabbit hole. Yeah.
But the whole reason that she moved to Alaska and just did photography was to get away from all this stuff, right?
Yes.
I'm thinking in my mind, if we were to like move away, I don't know, you have the lottery, you don't have to worry about work or anything. But if you just moved and hibernated into a cottage and did fishing every day and, just no TV, no computer, no phone, no nothing, you just got away from it all and just lived, in the woods on your own, totally sufficient. You don't have to go hunting or anything. You've got lots of food and stuff, but you hunt your fish just for your leisure. However, you came back 2 years later. Like, what would the world look like? Would it really honestly be different?
No.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Right?
And nothing that you have an effect over anyways. That's for sure.
Yeah. Like, everything is going to just maintain. Like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, you're kind of onto something. Like, maybe it's hard because, dude, as much as politics and everything, and I don't know if it's politics. It's sort of politics because I find it fascinating as I get older. But it's such entertainment. Like, you can't write some of this stuff up. Like, I used to love the movie House of Cards. You ever watch that?
Yeah, we watched House of Cards. Yeah,
I loved House of Cards. It was an
great.
awesome show.
Yeah.
But honestly, the real world is even more entertaining than that.
They're saying that was the problem, is that the real world got more crazy than the made up one that they did.
Like, you can't even make some of this stuff up, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of it is, I need to know more because it's so entertaining. You know what I mean?
But it's
It's like
unhealthy at the same time, especially
because
because if you get angry like I
if
do,
you binge watch House of Cards,
yeah,
there's no limit to what you can binge watch because the show's over. But
yeah,
you can binge watch 24/7
right,
real
right.
life because it's never over. It's always happening. And that's what we end up doing is we're binge watching a live constant show. You know what I mean?
And if there's something interesting happening, they make it seem interesting. Or they use anger. Anger is such a great motivator, right? Because when I get angry, it gives me energy, it gets me
Yeah.
excited, it increases my concentration,
Your endorphins.
all of that, and it
Yeah.
feels good, but it's bad for you.
It's
Like
bad
if it's
to be up
consistent.
that level all the time is bad, right?
Yeah, it's like anything. It's like too much of something. And it's like I found that I get angry and then I think later and I get angry without even reading the content. You know, if I'm like going to bed, I get angry. Not all the time, but enough that I was like, okay, this is unhealthy. But it's so addictive at the same time. So if you ask me what my goal is to try and watch less of that and try and do this noon thing. We'll see how long it lasts because I always have these ideas and then they peter out. But I'm gonna try.
You know what, dude? I'm gonna try that too. I'm glad you brought that up because I think it is devastating. Like I'm still gonna watch my horror movie and I'm gonna still kind
That's
of in
different
the
though.
background put my
Yeah,
YouTubers on and
me
stuff like
too.
that.
Yeah,
But I'm not gonna if I'm not working and it's for it to be in the background. If I'm gonna be sitting on a couch watching it and my focus and my energy is everything on that, I'm gonna try to back off on that stuff. But if it's
that's
sitting in the background while I'm working,
yeah.
that's going to be allowed. So I'm still getting my fix, but I'm not. I'm going to fix what needs to be fixed. You know what I mean? So I'm still getting my
Right.
little bit of it every day, but I'm
That's
not
that
focused entirely on that. Maybe I'll go for a walk during that time instead. That's right. That's exercise is probably better for your health. So maybe I'll try
oh
to do
god,
something
yeah.
like that. I
That's the
don't
one
want to
good thing
call it
about
a New Year's
having
resolution, but in a way, I guess it is because those things never work. But it's a goal. Put it that way.
that's one of the nice things about this being audio only is because I find myself I sometimes like audio only stuff
Yeah.
because it's less distracting
Oh,
because you have nothing to watch, right? So you're
I
not
got.
just gonna
I
sit
thought you
there
were going to
and
say that people can't see my nose grow when I say I'm going to go for a walk.
well, I just thought that one. My grandfather used to walk every day, and he lived into
Yes.
his 90s. But
Yeah. That's why you live that long, right? So
right, but anyways, yeah, we'll see. Anyways, we'll see how it goes. So we should continue on. It's been an hour and a half.
okay.
So, what's next?
Well, bolo of the
The
week.
week. There you go. So I'll go first this week.
Okay.
So I'm just reluctant to give this one because this is so good, and I know people might out there might know it, but a lot of people might not. It's called Pixel Chicks. Okay, and what these are little houses with an electric screen with a 3D. It's real like it has a flat screen it projects onto. It's a toy, and it's about I don't know 6 inches high. These little houses with buttons along the front called Pixel Chicks, and they're kind of fun. So I guess originally they were for girls, and it's kind of like a little like you have this little girl who lives in this house, and you can make her do things. You can make her like
Oh, I remember you talking about these before. Yeah. Okay.
right, and then lit up from behind,
Yeah.
and you can I don't know you can have her I don't know pet the animal or make a meal or do clothing or whatever. And they usually they're one story, but they can be 2 stories or even 6 stories, right?
Well, can't you join them together
And you
too?
can join them together. On the side, they have a little thing that sticks out, which you actually should make sure is not broken. Now, if it's broken, you can still sell them, but it's better if they're not, obviously. And you can attach these things together, and you can have her walk from one little house to another one. It's actually hilarious. I get why people are into this, right?
Huh.
And they don't always work, but I would say at least 80%, 70% of the time they work. And you can find them once in a while on the baggy wall at Value Village and stuff like that.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot about them, but I remember you talking about them in the past.
And like I said, you can actually find these things. This is not like you're never going to see one of these out in the wild. I get at least 2 a year, I would say. Especially, I don't go to Valley Village as much anymore, but when I used to go, I used to find them a couple times a year, and still regular prices. And they sell for usually minimum 40 American, and they can go up to 100, 150 American, depending on how rare and how big. If they're new in the package, they can be 2, 3, 400 American. I've never found one new in the package. I have found them broken. I have found them damaged, but even then, they're still worth selling as is. So, they light up. I have found one where like half of it didn't light up, and that kind of sucked because it can be 2 stories.
So I'm just looking at them now because I never did look at them. I know you talked about them in the past, and I just one of those things I forgot. So I'm glad you're bringing it up. I'm just looking at them now. They're just little plastic. They almost look like they could be like cheap Fisher Price stuff or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. But they do have buttons on them, I see.
Yeah, once you see one, you'll never forget them because they're quite distinctive, which is kind of nice too. And generally they're houses. There are ones that come out as little cars and stuff like that, or little kind of like laptopy things,
or circles,
But generally, you're going to see the houses.
Well, it's a circle, but they do call it a house. New in box, never opened. $350.
And the keys they sell for these prices. Sold, yeah, exactly. They're not just someone hoping for the best, right?
Yeah, so 180 is not uncommon.
No,
definitely over $100 is very very not uncommon.
I sold
one rare 2006, so they're not overly old.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, they're about 20 years old. Yeah,
yeah.
I sold one just last week for 70 American. So what is that, like 100 Canadian or something like that?
Well, here's one. So them not being that old, you could very easily find them in the box too. Here's one in the box, 2006 Mattel, $425 sold listing.
That'd be crazy. Yeah.
December 23rd. So that might be like a Christmas gift too, right? So
I think they're really neat.
That's awesome. I'm gonna find these. This is my goal this summer.
Yeah, I've never seen one in the garage sale, but they're probably up. They're at the perfect age where people are the kids have moved out, the parents are getting rid of their stuff, and 20, 25-year-olds are moving out, and the parents are getting rid of their stuff. So it's like that's the stuff you might find at the garage sale. It's a good point.
When people talk about Y2K, is what's Y2K? Would that consider that like 2006 kind of Y2K things?
No,
it has to be the 2000 year.
Yeah, I don't know what that definition. Like for me, Y2K is when I had to go in code and fix the bugs.
No, but some people call clothing Y2K and stuff.
Oh.
I didn't know if it was like that's kind of the
Jamie
Thrift on Fire. I hear him say that term a lot, but I think it's I didn't know if it was like 2000, 2010 or 2005 or is it just the year 2000? But
I'm an old man. I don't know what the kids are saying.
Y2K era.
All I know is what's up and cool bro and
what's up.
Exactly.
the beer commercial with the frogs. No, that's a good one. I like it. And are they usually small or could they get big?
There's six. There is 6 like little apartment ones, but I've never found one of those. I always find little houses.
You know what? I think
it's like it's true with all.
You're at a yard sale and you're going through a toy box and you find one.
This. Yeah.
You better keep digging because where there's one, there's probably more, especially if they join together.
Yeah, possibly.
Right? Like, I don't know if so much out of Value Village, I would assume the same, but who knows? It could have been in a bag that's already sold or whatever. But if you're at a yard sale and you're digging in boxes of toys and you see one of those, like, I'd be highly on the lookout for more. It's like Polly Pockets, right?
It is like Polly Pockets. Yeah, it's the same kind of thing.
It's just digital version. No, that's pretty good. I like that. That might be my favorite one of your bolos so far.
Well, I was reluctant to share this one because
I understand. I understand. The Skylanders was intriguing because you see them all the time, but I think this one is a gold mine because you don't have to look for that variant. The variant just means you're going to make more, but even the lower end ones, I haven't seen. I saw one for $60 and everything else is 80 plus.
Yeah.
So
sold. So yeah, they don't even really go below 30 or 40. So unless
I haven't seen one yet for below. Well, there's one for 36, so maybe it says read, so there's probably something going on there.
That to me means there's a problem with it.
Okay, awesome. Well, that kicks my ass for my bolo.
Oh, really? Well, what's your bolo of the week?
Well, my bolo of the week is something that I like. I always try to keep it with what I sell, and which I think you're so far definitely in that category too. I don't know. I'm going to try to keep it to things that I find, because if I try to go outside where I don't find things, that means maybe it's too hard to find. But I found this, and you're going to see this, but you're going to overlook it. And this is diaries and journals.
Yeah.
Did I talk about these before?
Nope.
Like as a bolo? So military ones are good, but they don't have to be military. Like military ones that I found, I got 200 for one, and I think I got 175 for another, or maybe 150. But I've also got $100 ones for just a journal, right? So you go to an estate sale, you're digging in a box, and you see someone's journal, grab it. It's considered a book. Like, don't go, oh, I got someone's journal here. Just, it's a book. But some of them, more than a scrapbook, I'm talking about an actual book. But I had one from Windsor, got $100 for it, got a good feedback for it. And it was from the 30s. And it was just this girl's diary. And she was just talking about how she went here and how she went there and, what I did today. But people love that kind of stuff, right? So probably, I mean, with everything, there's going to be ones that are worth 30, 40, $50, a full one, or you get someone that's famous if you're lucky to have that. I mean, the most famous one would be the military ones, but the military ones we're talking about, yeah, today we lost 50 men in this battle, or like 50 men had died in this battle. Or we captured 10 of the other side or something. Like there was actual documentation of what they did each day, right? So, and then some days it would be nothing, and then all of a sudden he would come back and talk. So, but they talk about battles, they talk about where they're headed, what they're doing, all this kind of stuff, and it's all written in the journals. But
right,
um, I'm gonna say journals and diaries, and it's crazy. I know who's going to want to read about somebody's life experiences, but it talks about what they did back in that time and what was important to them, and people like that kind of stuff. So there you go. Like I said, it's very boring compared to yours, but at the same time,
oh no, I think it's
a
cool.
lot of people overlook that stuff, and you never know what's going to be in there. I don't sit there and read it, but I will kind of flip through the pages just to kind of get dates. And
they don't want my diary, which has 3 entries in it and never again. It's all
well,
empty.
your diary, you're famous now, Carl. So you're on this show. So it could be.
Right. I didn't think of that.
Be caught up,
Today I went to school. And
today I read Reddit for 4 hours,
and then I watched YouTube for 8.
6. Today I listed 3 items.
Well, that'd be a good day.
Today I went to the booth and sold 2 items and sat there and played bowling.
It was definitely some bowling days. Bowling pictures I could have taken this last weekend. It's so sad.
This is our audio diary.
Oh my god! Today
that was the way of vlogging back in the day, right?
It was.
Their vlogs, and look how popular vlogs are on video. So.
Oh, and by the way, I said I was going to do this until January. Well, I'm going to still do it because I'm too lazy to take everything out yet, and I'm not bored yet. Like, don't get me wrong. Every Sunday, I'm like, crap. I have to get up again at 6:30.
Well, the summertime will be easier.
Yeah,
right. You'll be driving home in daylight, and you'll be driving there in daylight and home. Right now, it's all dark, so.
Oh, it was so foggy last time. I think I hit a rabbit too. I think it got away, but I had 0 chance. It's like the stupid thing just came at me like completely 90 degrees. It's like, dude, but I think he was okay. But that would have made me I'm a sensitive boy. I would have been very upset.
Yeah, I don't want to break your heart, Carl. So I won't say that, a 2-ton, piece of steel hitting a little piece of flesh. Like I'm sure the rabbit survived too.
I didn't hit him. At least I didn't know that I hit him. Okay, anyways, let's keep going. So let's go on to a much
That
nicer
thump,
topic.
the thump.
Yeah, oh god.
That was just a stick.
I was on a first date once, and I killed a little raccoon family.
Oh, the whole family. Would you back
Well, at
up
least
and
two
go
of them
over it
was there.
again?
I heard the thump. I was like, oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now that we're all crying in tears, let's go change to positivity. So we're gonna do the other favorite thing of the week is comments of the week.
Comments of the week.
So I guess we'll start with Spotify like we normally do. Do
Yeah,
we
we'll
have any Spotify?
start on Spotify. I'm going to go back a week in
Yes.
Spotify because we were kind of out of sorts just based on where everything was
Mm-hmm.
as far as holidays and stuff. So we ended up missing a couple of those ones. And it was actually it was just one, but it was Tina Mac, and she said, "Merry Christmas to you both, all the best, and lots of sales for 2025."
Oh, thanks.
So that would have been 2 shows ago, but that's because we had to start like just 3 or 4 days earlier. So appreciate that, Tina Mac. All the
Yeah.
best to you, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yeah.
Belated.
Yes.
Okay. So now this was from last week's show, and we're going to start off with Tina Mac. She's the number, like we have 3, so she's on the top of the list here. Happy New Year, guys. Still enjoying the bolos. Looking forward to more of your episodes in the new year. Well, thank you, Tina Mac.
Thank you.
Looking forward to doing them as well. And because of you, we have the bolos. So hopefully you enjoy the bolos this week. Carl way outdid me on the bolos, but that was a good one. Tim Gallant, which seems to be a newbie. He's a new commenter. Hey guys, follow Reseller from Atlantic Canada. Wow. Fellow reseller from Atlantic Canada.
His name is ringing bells. Like, sorry, Tim,
Wow.
if we talked about you before, met you before, but it's funny, it's ringing a bell. But keep going.
I mainly do thrift stores and Facebook Marketplace to source my items, but lately I've been really trying to ramp up my inventory to get more sales. Lately I've been buying from online auctions. Well, that's
Yeah.
I like online auctions for sure.
Me too.
Which is definitely helping. I'm curious, where do you guys get the bulk of your inventory? Is it auctions, thrift stores, yard sales, a mixture of everything? What is the one that gets you the most inventory? I would say yard sales and auctions are, for me, are in the top as far as volume. Okay, just sold something. As far as volume, I don't really go to thrift stores. I still will, but I really just do it because I'm kind of in the area. My best stuff comes from private picks, estate sales, that kind of thing. But I think yard sales, auctions, yard sales. I'm gonna have to say yard sales is probably pure volume, pure cheap. But that's where it is, kind of all over. I don't do Facebook Marketplace. I think I just feel like a waste of time, and it's kind of frustrating because a lot of people are doing that.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Carl?
So each category is slightly different. Like if you're asking volume, it'd be me auctions, live auctions. So each one is different. Like live auctions are great, but you're going to pick up a lot of junk at the same time, and you have to physically go there, and you could end up with nothing. But they're kind of fun, right? Yard sales are great, but for me, they can be random. You could waste your entire time and not find anything, or you get to a great one and they want high prices, or they're just like, it's just, not a good neighborhood. Like, but yard sales can be the cheapest.
It's funny how different, we're all Canadians, but in different areas we see things, we find things are different wherever what area we're living in. Like yard sales for me are like super important, but
My biggest home runs have been Well, that's not true. I've
Thrift
had some
stores
great.
for you are your
Well, I was gonna let me finish.
okay.
So, garage sales, I find them more awkward because it's a more direct, um, talking there as opposed to an auction where there's a lot of like competition in a live auction, but it feels more fair because you can bid or not. It's up to you, right? Where yard sales, it's like whoever gets there first, whoever gets there early, whoever is willing to like get there before they're really open. There's all of that awkwardness, right? And also with thrift stores, I actually go a lot less because I found the driving from thrift store to thrift store was taking a
Okay.
lot of time. At one point, there was a lot of competition at thrift stores, and
So
so
you've actually
anything
slowed down on the thrift
I've
stores.
slowed down on thrift stores, but you can
Okay.
still get amazing hits at thrift stores. It's just that um, they can be very frustrating too, right? Sometimes some competition plays unfair, which doesn't help. Some people are very aggressive, but also it's like you could drive around all day and find nothing, right? And that used to get me really frustrated. I think thrift stores have less competition now from other resellers. I think a lot of resellers have disappeared
Okay.
or whatever's happened to them, they stopped. So I find there's less resellers when I go, but they can be frustrating. Like people complain about prices. That's never really been an issue for me, the thrift store prices. The nice thing about thrift stores is they get a high turnover rate. And if you know your bolos, they're great for bolos because you could come across something and they don't know how to price it in the back yet. And you come across something, but they're not my favorite. Then there's online auctions. So for online auctions, I find there's two types. There's the professional ones where all the prices are high and all the starting bids are so high that can't even make a profit. Those ones I don't even look at anymore. And then there's ones like Max Sold, which is more like people getting rid of estates, and you can get good deals there. But then often you can get stuff like you never know what you're going to get when you get there because there's no viewing of the items before the sale, and it's not a professional run sale. So you could get something that's broken that you don't know, and you're out of luck when you get home, right? I've had that happen. So, but Max
Oh,
Sold I'll look at. Private picks, obviously, we've talked about. I haven't done yet. And what's the other? Facebook Marketplace. I have the same experience. I used to find good stuff off of there. Some people still can find good stuff on there, but you have to be damn fast, like within 5 minutes almost or 10 minutes. Otherwise, the stuff is gone. So I don't really look at Facebook Marketplace that often either.
if I look at Facebook Marketplace, it's more so looking for someone who is having like an estate sale or
Yes.
a yard sale,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
as opposed to individual items for
Items.
sale. Because most of those people are looking it up. They're probably not familiar with how to actually research stuff on eBay, so their prices are ridiculous to begin with. And it's to me is as frustrating as going to Value Village or something like a thrift store. Um, but one of the other things is I have an antique booth and I've created sources with that antique booth. Um, in that people come and say, "Hey, I got a bunch of stuff for sale. You guys interested?" I've also created contacts over the year, and they've set me up with really good picks. And
Oh
I've
yeah.
done the same too. I've set a couple people up with good picks too, because it was stuff that I wasn't really into, like Jamie Thrift on Fire. I set him up with that guy that does. That's where he bought his hockey cards and his jerseys lately. If you watch his videos on YouTube, so you know but all that stuff comes back and forth. You know what I mean? Some people set you up, you set them up, and so sourcing through sources, I guess,
Yeah.
would be
Flea markets, contacts. Like people have given me stuff, and I've given people stuff because it's sometimes like it's no value to me, and sometimes it's being just they're being nice to me, and one of the people come to visit me all the time. He gave me something, and I sold it already. And it was like really nice of them, right? It's like awesome. So there's definitely, and you can source from flea markets too. A lot of people will do that. Like I said, I'd say like at least 3/4 of my sales are to other resellers at the booth. So that's another aspect. Like, and estate sales was the other one. I don't have much luck at estate sales. If they're professionally run, I would get really upset because they were asking like higher than retail prices around here. And it's just like, I'm not going to waste my time because there's a lot of competition for some reason to get in there quick. You get in there, and then they want super high prices for stuff. Or I could have spent that same time, that hour or 2 or 3 hours, and just gone to thrift stores and found stuff for cheaper, for better. So now, if it's not a professionally estate sale, I haven't actually been to one, so that's a good source. But sourcing is funny. It's like, it's hard to say, oh, this is the best or this is the best, because sometimes you get like home runs.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, Value Village is the best thing ever. And then you don't find anything for like 3 weeks. So, and the nice thing about online auctions is you can do it while staying at home. So you can get frustrated that you're not finding anything, but you're only spending an hour a week actually sourcing that way, as opposed to the Value Village where it takes you half an hour to get there, half an hour to get back. You know what I mean? Like, so it depends.
Well, I kind of go back to what I was saying with there's areas that I do well because I get in cheap and heavy volume, and there's other things I do well because I'm getting there like at a private pick. You're getting there usually before anyone else has a chance. You're able to go through it
Fresh.
fresh, like really hone in on the higher quality stuff because there's no competition there. Um, so to say we're like what one's best for me, I think they're good for different reasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
get private picks every weekend like I do yard sales
No.
or auctions. I'm talking online auctions. There's a couple live auctions, but online auctions you could do every week. Yard sales you could do every week throughout the summer, like the warmer weather here in Canada. But private picks might come 5 a year. You know what I mean? And one or two of them are going to be great. So,
Yeah.
and you never know when your next one's going to be, right? So I could have 10 this year or I could have none. I don't know. But, it always seems to get a few of them each year. But you have to create sources. You have to create ways for people to find you to come and ask you to do a private pick. So,
and you have to try them. Like this one live auction I never go to that's nearby. It was always garbage. Always garbage.
yeah.
And I stopped going. And the other one, half the time I leave right away because there's nothing there. And half the time it's other resellers getting rid of their leftovers. But
right.
but sometimes you can get it so cheap it doesn't matter, right? So, it's
well, I'm finding a lot of the auctions, especially the auction house I'm using that's online, they're doing a lot of entire estates. So they do I think it's once a month they do kind of consigner stuff, unless sometimes they have so many like full estates that they just keep pushing that consigner one back until they're done with the estates, because the estates usually they're time sensitive, right?
Yeah.
So you never know what you're going to get in there, right? And
there's waiting lists to put stuff into a lot of the auctions around here.
Yeah, so
you never know that looking at it externally, but when you actually talk to people, it's like, yeah, there is waiting lists. Or they might say you can have a table. We'll give you a table worth of stuff.
I've actually got to the point where the person well enough that I have a good rapport with the online auction and the live auction. But recently the online one is kind of amazed because I especially with the VHS tapes and different things like that, like things that they don't put value in, that I can show them that there's value here. Like it got to the point now where I pitched to them, like, listen, because we got this estate, it's coming up, it's near where you're living, and it's just going to be crazy. There's so much stuff. And I said, listen, if you can't put everything into your auction because you're taking photo stuff, I said, let me come by. If there's a pile of stuff that you've already got everything you want listed, don't throw it out. I'll come. Maybe I'll buy it all. Maybe I'll cherry pick it, but I'll pay you guys an amount, and you don't have to deal with it. So she's entertaining that idea for me to come by and pick what they're not going to list, and who knows what that could be. You know what I mean? So that could be a way of sourcing too. Once you establish that relationship where, she's so nice, treats me well, I treat them well. Like even for Christmas, I give them $50. I said, next time you guys have a big, auction and you're hungry, I said, go out for pizzas, buy coffees, whatever. Here's a Christmas gift. just $50, right?
Yeah.
Um, keep that going. I know the live auction guys, they text me all the time. Sometimes I text them back. Sometimes I don't get a chance to text them back about an auction, but they treat me well going there. You know what I mean? And I don't want to lose that. Sometimes I go to an auction just because I want to maintain that connection. You know what I mean?
God.
Yeah. So it's
Mm.
like I don't really need the inventory, but I want to maintain that connection and keep going back. And I'm always happy that I go back because I love them. But like the auctions are awesome. But there's sometimes you just can't make the auction. You just can't go because I got too much inventory. I'm
Too much
overloaded.
inventory. It takes a long time to process when you get a lot of inventory sometimes. So
Oh,
if you're not careful, you're piling stuff on top of stuff,
yeah,
which
and there's nothing wrong with that, Carl. It's good.
God damn
It's
it.
good mentally. It's good physically.
I
It's
have a
good for
big
your
pile next to
relationship.
me. I have
Oh,
like boxes upon boxes, like stuff is getting damaged as I walk into them.
but you just never know. So I'm kind of rambling on here, but
Yeah,
anyway,
sources, lots of ways to source. We didn't
lots of
even
ways.
cover half of them, I'm sure.
Um, Atlantic Canada. I would think that there would be a lot of interesting stuff out there. I deal mostly. I try to deal with vintage collectibles or even antiques. I just think there's probably a lot of stuff out there. I personally would think that there's a lot of stuff out there, a lot of history.
And I deal with mostly vintage stuff. I don't see too many antiques. I'm not saying they're not here. It's just mostly it's vintage.
Uh, so thanks, Tim. Thanks so much for that comment. We'll get into Adam here. He's the last guy on Spotify. Hey guys, glad Canada Post is back open and you can get back to your business. I agree. Absolutely. And I'm very happy that they're back. With that said, with Xmas season over, do you guys have any suggestions for bread and butter items that may not be highly profitable and keep the sales coming in until it picks back up again towards summer? One thing I'm starting to get into, and it's not like I need to get into anything, but I'm really starting to get into clothing.
Really?
Uh, yeah, I sold a Eddie Bauer sweater.
Yeah.
Um, I sold a baseball jersey. I listed a basketball jersey, Toronto Raptors. I'm starting to dabble into clothing. I put a clothing section in my store. I'm about to list some. I picked up some '70s clothing out of an attic. So some of it was dry rot, some of it was okay, and some of it had stains. So the stuff that I thought was really cool '70s flower pattern, maybe like '60s, '70s, really kind of really Austin Powers type looking stuff. But it had a stain on it, so I had to put it in the booth. But I also have some uniform stuff that's the guy was a delivery guy, right? So he
Mm.
has like a delivery shirt and pants. Back in the day, you know, service station guys and those delivery drivers and stuff, they had
Yeah.
uniforms. So I'm starting to get into clothing. So it's not so much that they're worth a lot of money, but there's value there for different reasons, right?
Yeah.
So I think maybe one that could be a bread and butter thing, like an Eddie Bauer shirt. I also picked up a North Face jacket. It was $14. It's probably $100 jacket, but it's so clean, new. And it's the right size for me. I might keep it for myself. Like it's actually a nice jacket. And North Face, and you start learning brands and stuff like those are pretty good ones, right? So I even bought Carl. I even bought
Yeah.
at the, at the at the advice of my son one of those folding boards.
A
You know what I'm
folding?
talking about?
No.
So it costs like $16. It was on Amazon, but you open it up and then you lay your shirt on it,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
you fold the one side and then the other, and then
Yeah,
you
yeah.
flip it, and it folds the shirt like it's like brand
Oh,
new out of a package from. It's
is it worth
awesome,
getting? Because
huh?
I sell shirts at the flea market for my buddy there,
Yeah,
and they always get messed up. And but they're pretty nice to have shirts because it's like you can pile a whole bunch of them. They're only $20 each, and they sell.
yeah. I
But
don't pile them. I hang them on hangers.
oh, I wouldn't have enough room for that. But yeah.
Yeah. So what I use for the price tag is just a safety pin,
Yeah.
and I have a paper tag with a string on it, and I'll
Yeah.
put that to it. That's in the booth, but online when I sell them, like I put them in a plastic bag that has all the, do not suffocate yourself by putting this over your head kind of disclaimer on it. But they're very cheap, and I bought them on Amazon as well. And I just fold it on this folding board, stuff it in there. It's got a sticky tape thing on it, so you stick it and forget it, But
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a folding board. Like I'm really into this stuff.
I need to do an Amazon, as horrible as it is. I need to do Amazon order too.
So
I
I
don't
would
get it
say try starting to look at clothing a little bit. Shoes,
for bolos. Yeah,
yeah,
for bread and butter, not
for
bolo. Bread
bread
and
and
butter.
butter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you're still going to get your home runs in there. You're going to still get a $200 jersey, or you're going to get
Mm.
$150 jersey, shirt, different things, all around print. You're going to start learning what's good for clothing. But just a thought. I don't know. What about you? Any bread and butter?
Like so much of my stuff is bread and butter, so it's kind of hard to say. Like I do postcards, so I consider it bread and butter. I sold one this week for $5, so it's like it's still worth my time, but it's not a high value stuff. Maybe calculators. Tape.
I kind of think of bread and butter stuff as something that's common, something that sells
Yeah.
that you can go out and find every day.
Well,
I think clothing you could find every day. You have to learn brand names. That's a thing. But
I'm not gonna do clothing, but I think I feel like kind of talk about bread and butter stuff anyways.
yeah,
Like a lot of it's gonna be in that category. Like there's nothing I specialize in. I'm not definitely not that guy. Neither you really, but
I don't specialize in anything.
yeah.
I'm
So
willing to do anything. But if you want a bread and butter
it's like
item,
comic books maybe, but not even in comic books, right? It's like bread and butter would be like tapes, like sealed tapes, like I talked about before. Like that stuff you can find is very common, easy to source, easy to ship, easy to sell, right?
but you still have to kind of know because not all tapes.
No, but everything you kind of have to know a little bit. Like I don't think there's anything with zero knowledge
Yeah,
I can think of. Like even like if you bought, I don't know, calculators for school, there's still different values of calculators. You can't just pick up any calculator or
yeah,
and same with postcards. It's the same with the stereo views, right? Like there's the bread and butter ones which are common, like the $3 to $5 you're gonna get no matter what. Like for the cheapest stereo view, you at least get $3 probably as long as the condition's okay. But yeah, but they're slow sellers. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to think about that one. I'm not.
Well, being on Atlantic Canada, the Eddie Bauer shirt or a sweater was I think it's called a fisherman's stitching or something, but it's like a wool. It was wool, but it was that East Coast that look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So kind of very woolly, very thick. It was a nice sweater, but yeah. So you might even see some of that out there. Oh, sorry. This was Adam. Tim is the Atlantic guy.
Yeah.
Adam's he's kind of on the Atlantic coast too, right? Isn't he Maine or something in there in that area?
I don't know.
But that's Xmas. So, anyways, thanks for that. He's the FedEx driver.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
I know you can't. Adam Wakefield. Adam, thanks so much for the comment, and I hope that helps. Let us know. But yeah, I would. You probably have some really neat clothing out there, like heavy wool sweaters and some interesting jackets and stuff like that. So, um, another thing I might look for, and I'm just kind of saying this because I'm only going to say the East Coast, Adam, because I'm pretty sure you're out there in Maine, like under Nova Scotia and all that kind of stuff. But this can go to Tim as well. But if you're out there, you're probably seeing things that are a little bit kind of East Coast themed, even arts and stuff like that, which would still be valuable for people center country and west. You know what I mean? Like they're still gonna like that kind of culture. Like I sell a lot of like uh West Coast Native American stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
there's looks that are kind of for your zone. Try picking that kind of stuff up. You might think it's common, but it might be a style that other people that aren't out in that area really like. Does that make sense?
Yep.
right? So
Lobsters. People like lobsters. Pick up lots of lobsters.
yeah, yeah, that's right. Lobster's expensive, dude. But anyways, thanks so much for the comments on Spotify, and now it's time to swing on over to the YouTubers.
Okay, so I'll start with Dawn.
Yes, you will.
Glad your Tesla didn't totally crap out, Carl. Next time you'll have to disconnect the battery and shove it down your pants to warm it up faster. I refuse to answer that. That's very inappropriate, Dawn.
Wow.
Next one, Cybertrucks are hideous monstrosities and look fairly useless as far as trucks go. I agree with that. Especially in winter. I haven't seen one in person yet, but I really don't understand what the hell they were thinking with that design. They were thinking money. They like money. Polygonal. I do hope that eventually someone makes pickups that have the same amount of space and power as gas diesel ones, but electric or whatever. Yeah, it's called the Lightning. Ford Lightning is that, isn't it?
Well, I just want to say that I would never in at this time be interested in that Cybertruck, but I do appreciate different looking models. Like I don't know. I'm not really a car guy or anything like that or truck guy, but I can understand the appeal to it to a degree. It is different. There was other models that come out and they were just way beyond their time. So does that make sense? I don't disagree with you. I wouldn't buy one myself, Don, but I don't have a problem with people liking different things. I kind of think that makes it neat.
I have no problem if someone wants a Cybertruck. My problem is what it's designed for. Electric cars are not good at.
No. Oh, for sure. For sure.
Like,
I remember Craigslist Hunter talking about getting one when they first started coming out. And I'm like, eesh, like I don't think you can haul around and all that kind of stuff that he does and that I would be doing. Like, so I don't think on as far as practicality on truck term, but so I said I saw one not too long ago. Well, I saw another one, which is probably the same one, meaning somebody in this area has purchased one.
mm-hmm.
And it's okay. Like the DeLorean is another example. Like, what a useless car, but it looks pretty cool, And they're
no one's buying a Ferrari for like taking the kids to school every day, right? That's not the purpose of the vehicle.
Yeah, so
you want attention. If you have a Cybertruck, you kind of want the attention.
You want the attention, right?
Yeah.
So
I
don't have a problem with people having them. I just think if you want a truck, I don't think that's going to work.
Like I'm like when I got the Tesla, I didn't get it to get attention. I got it because I wanted a vehicle that represents something I think is the future and I think is important, right? But also I wanted something I didn't have to fill with gas. And I thought I like new things. I got like a little robot, vacuum. I got this. I got like a cat litter robot, which was useless. I got one of those. Like I like tech, right?
Yeah.
And
I like country.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll continue here.
Okay.
Well, no. There's nothing wrong with that. I feel like bad now that I was bashing Cybertrucks, but it's like they're not something I'd be interested in.
So, I wouldn't be interested in either, but I like trucks for a different reason. But I don't mind people having them because I kind of like the differences and different personalities, right? Diversity, and it kind of speaks to your personality, right? Yeah. Your vehicle. So
like I could, if there's an SUV that had like 1,000-kilometer range electric, I'd be all over that. But right now they don't have anything like that.
It's symbolism, and it's just like when I met you the first time and I saw your car and you had that fish on the back of your car that just represents you.
He's bullshitting, just so people know. Oh no, we're going off the rails. It's been too long, so we better keep going.
I'm kind of.
I was like, you guys, and you had to like, I should say things, but I'm not gonna. You don't have to edit this out, so we're just gonna keep going.
The worst people to follow. When you get behind a person, they got that little fish on there. You know that they're going slow, right? Like
I know it's just as bad as when people have the little dinosaur eating the fish. It's like, I get it. Like, yes, you're not religious, but that doesn't mean you have to bash people who are religious.
I'm not bad. I'm cutting.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm saying I've seen those. With the dinosaur. I'd be scared of my car getting scratched. Actually, more than anything else.
I just know that's not you. So I just
I know. You're just throwing it in there.
okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Scott, I'm glad you have such a positive outlook for the future. There are a lot of apprehensive people out there, myself included, more often than I like to admit. Yeah, and that's why I'm trying to do the boredom thing. And it's nice to hear you excited for what's to come in 2025.
Well, Don, I won't spend a lot of time trying to talk about every comment here, but I will say this. I really I think you get out of it what you put into it. And I just honestly think we're headed towards good times. I'm not saying, and I said this last time, politically, uh, 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 other countries might have a lot of turmoil, but I think we're headed for brighter times. Like I think good sales is going to be one of them. Americans are 90% of what I sell, 85% of what I sell, and I think they're in the position where there's going
Oh,
to be lots of people buying.
the U.S. economy is booming.
Yeah. And I
So,
think it's just going to get stronger the next couple of years. So I think we're, doesn't mean we're not going to have slow months. I just think overall 2025, barring anything catastrophic, I think it's going to be a good year to sell on eBay.
the Toy Soldiers drinking game is still going strong. Yes. Holy, holy crap. Carl's been drafting. Nice going. Yeah, I got bored enough to actually draft a bunch of stuff, and I was comping stuff and getting stuff ready for the booth in advance. So, yeah, I must be really bored. January, February might as well be 10 years from now. I feel seeing, yeah.
That was your comment, right?
That was my comment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for me, the future is like, could be like 300 years from now for next week. Fountain pens would be great thing to sell if you like smalls. I haven't come across many, and it feels like a learning curve, kind of like jewelry. Well, the nice thing about fountain pens is they have the freaking names on them. You
Yep.
don't have to search for the names. And like you said, the cleaning aspect.
You might have to angle them in the light to actually
Yeah.
see the name because they're lightly imprinted.
But even like the cheaper brands, when you see a fountain pen, you kind of know it. And even
Oh,
if you,
yeah.
you take the cap off and you like see a golden nib, not even like forget that, just like any like if it's cheap enough, you're good to go. Like
Yeah, once
I'm
you
not
see
going to worry
one
about
fountain
that.
pen, you're going to see them all. Like
Yeah,
some
exactly.
are marbly, some are just black and
Yeah,
or red or like one color, but a
yeah,
lot of them are marbly looking
yeah,
but you're
yeah,
going to see them. They all kind of have the same lid, the same body
exactly.
structure.
Yeah. I wonder if fountain pens would be safe to clean with an ultrasonic cleaner. I know you can clean gold with one. I wouldn't bother. I have no idea.
So I after I talked to you, Carl, I went and looked at some fountain pen examples of solds, and people aren't cleaning them. In
No.
fact, they're even saying like this is going to need some work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or someone's going to have to professionally clean this. I think the one guy even said that he could clean it himself, but it would still have to be professionally maintained or cleaned, or he used some sort of term like that. It almost looked like he had a generic copy and paste type setup.
Yeah. Wasn't
And
me.
he was actually doing auctions, and he
Mm.
got like $170 for a pen.
Oh wow, good for him.
That was clearly in distress.
Yes.
So that's how I'm going to sell them. Like, why waste time cleaning them? I'm just going to click, 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 list, click, 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 list. Click is taking photos.
Do you have an ultrasonic cleaner?
Is that those ones that it comes in like an oval thing and you set it in there and it just kind of shakes it? Right?
Well, it's not a rock tumbler, if that's what you're talking about.
No, it's for cleaning jewelry and stuff like that mostly.
Yeah. I don't, obviously, I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I know. I don't have one of those. I never.
I have one. I bought it at a yard sale for like a couple of bucks and it works, but I've never used it for anything. I was going to use it for jewelry, and then people are saying that it vibrates so much that sometimes it could knock loose stones and stuff like that. So, yeah. So I do have one, but I've never used it.
The stuff I would buy in ultrasonic cleaners is like lower on the list of stuff I need to buy. So,
But I wouldn't put an ultrasonic cleaner in. I wouldn't put it in there for that. For the reason that I don't think it would do the job efficiently enough. Like I still think you got to go in there. There's going to be ink. There's going to be
Oh, I wouldn't use it on a fountain pen.
no, and
No,
it
no, no,
still
no.
could damage the pen.
Yeah, no, I would not use it on a fountain pen. Like jewelry, if I was picking up a lot of costume jewelry,
Yeah,
yeah, maybe. But even then, I don't know. It's like something I never really looked into. Like costume jewelry, I would like to get into. Like I did think of it like when I was at the live auction picking some up, but there were actually a lot of jewelry experts there. Actually, that was the most expensive thing that went out at the auction was $1,500 for a ring. So it
yeah.
actually got pretty serious there for a while. But yeah. Anywho, Skylanders. I don't think they were worthless because you have talked about them a few times on Two Dog Stigs, but I assume they are like any type of collectible. Some have value and some don't. Yep. And I was also desperate for a bolo. I paid the extra 39 cents, 99 cents for overseas for stallion protection. I don't know if I'm wasting money, but it's giving me peace of mind a couple of times when things have disappeared. I end up not having to be the one to chase down the shippers, etc. But now I'm scared to think about how much I've spent on it just this year. Meep. Yeah, 40 cents. Like for me for postcards, it wouldn't really be worth it because it's like you send. Yeah, I don't know. Uh,
Well, here's the thing.
yeah,
I want to. I'm gonna knock on wood, but I've never had anything go missing in the mail. I've had things
no,
delayed, and people claim that they didn't receive them when it said delivered. But within a couple of days, each time they've been delivered. You know what I mean?
I
So
have not had stuff disappear really either that I can think of. Like I've had people that exact scenario. I was like, "Where's my thing?" It almost always shows up the next day. I have had once, actually, I have had once or twice where someone said like, "I don't have it," and I've said to them, "You need to contact eBay," and I never heard from them again. So I think in those cases they probably actually did get it. It just was, and they didn't bother saying anything to me. Uh,
the other thing is like everything has tracking.
yeah,
So
no,
I don't think you can get insurance on something without the tracking.
mm,
Is that right?
I don't know.
So I don't know either. But if you so everything is tracked, so I don't know. Um,
When it comes to extra expenses like this, I always think, one, am I actually going to claim anything if something goes wrong? And is it high enough value that I actually care? It has to be quite valuable. Like if it's something like over $400, I'll probably put insurance on it, just like she said, to make myself feel better. But that even then, it's rare. It has to. I can't even justify when I use it. It's so rare. Like I might do it once a year, kind of thing. You know?
yeah, I haven't. I sent out that Royal Dalton for $600. I sent out those toy soldiers. It was just a lot of them, but individually for 2 grand, 1,000, 800. I've never got insurance ever.
Like if that roll Dalton broke, I don't even think it covers you for that. If you had insurance, I don't think it includes breakage.
Yeah, I don't know. That was through UPS because it was cheaper.
Mm.
So I don't know if their policy is different than Canada Post, but I don't know honestly either way. It's just if I can add up 10 items that was over $500, let's say over 300, whatever. What level did you use?
I don't know. I
Right,
made up
like
one. Yeah.
so. I don't know. Would I be at $100 in losses right now, and nothing happened? So how far does it go to the point where it's $300, and all I'm doing is really I'm going to get $100 back anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
So
it's over up to 100 automatically. Yeah.
right, and how much do I have into it, and all this
Yeah.
other stuff, right?
I
So
just like teach their own, whatever makes you feel better, I guess. Right. But
yeah, I mean,
financially, to me,
for peace of mind, if that's what it takes to make you feel better, that's fine. But for me, I'm kind of looking at the other side. You know,
how much you
like
paid for it.
how
Yeah.
much I pay. It's like getting insurance when I go and buy a TV. Well, I'm buying this thing because it's supposed to work. You know what I mean? Why would I buy $400 worth of insurance?
Yeah. It's a sucker's game to me.
Yeah, so I don't do that either, right? So, like, if it doesn't work, I'm going to be a pain in the ass. They're gonna just want my, if I'm paying $1,500 or $1,000 or whatever it is, I think things have gone down quite a bit, but for a large TV, like I'm going to be a pain in the butt if it's not working.
Yep.
So
They need assurance against you.
they need to ensure. Yeah, that's right.
I was just bugging about taking photos of the comments, Scott. And until next week. Well, thank you, Don.
The photos. Okay, I think of
yeah.
the comments. You're right. Photo of the comments. Right. No,
So,
no, that's fine. I don't care. Carl bugs me all the time.
Oh yeah, nerd. So for the next ones, I'm gonna let you read the next one from Salge. But just so you know, Salge, I looked. You mentioned that some of your comments were missing from episode 52, and they're not there. So I don't know. I don't know what happened there. They're gone forever, and I've heard of that happening. So
Well, it happened to Randy the one time, and it does happen now and then. I think
and
maybe
they're not exactly. They're gone, and they're gone. Like we can't even get them back from like sort by new or anything. They're just gone. So who knows?
And don't think it's us deleting them. I know I've left comments on other people's sites, and at first I'm like, did they delete my like? Why
I know,
delete my comment? But now that I'm realizing what happens on this end, that they probably didn't delete it. It was probably just I don't know. Disappears.
It's like my inventory that I can't find. Just disappeared, man. It's gone.
It's those gremlins.
I know.
Scott, the farthest. Oh, so this is from Carverman. How do you say his name? Serge. Okay. What I used to call Serge.
Serge.
Serge. Scott, the farthest Canadian station for military is Alert. It has a muskox on the logo. This one, the logo was white with like, oh my god, it was almost like the globe with this. It's hard to describe. I'll have to go back. It's probably that location if it's the farthest one, because that's what he said it was. I've only found one patch so far. Well, you found a patch. Nice. This was a jacket with a patch on it. So unfortunately, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
He took it back. Next comment. Hey Scott, that was my phone going cha-ching while talking to Carl. Nice. At the booth. Weird thing is, everyone else was hearing it but me. Oh.
I was hearing it.
Hey, a loud cha-ching or a silent cha-ching is a cha-ching. So
I tried to get mine to turn. I turned mine off ages ago, and I tried to fix that, and I can't fix it. So I guess I'm without cha-chings forever.
Well, about 5 minutes ago, there was a cha-ching. I don't know if you heard that, Carl.
Yeah, I heard that one.
I sold a pen set.
Oh,
for I think I had $50 on it. But yeah, so
speaking of pens,
yes, exactly. It wasn't a fountain pen set though. It was like a drafting pen set or something. Books sell in the U.S. because they can ship cheap via media mail. Books might be another bolo. Going back to, was it Adam's comment? Bolo?
Well,
but you got to be careful with books, like because they're like clothing. There's a lot out there, but you got to know which ones have value, and you got to watch the shipping. Adam, I believe, is in the U.S., so he probably has a better discounted rate in shipping than we do here in Canada.
Yeah, and actually, media mail isn't as good as it once was. They've got the price a lot, so I think that's actually becoming less of a fact because they've raised the cost in the United States. I had media mail access through Chit Chats, and on some heavy books, it made a huge difference. But I don't sell too many of those books anyway, so it wasn't that big a difference. But it was nice to have. But
yeah, books. Sorry, we can't compete, unfortunately, at least on eBay. So I look at books differently, and I've said this before, but I have the antique booth. So a lot of books that are like $30 or less, I'll put $5 or $10 on them and throw them in the booth, and that's to clear them out. I usually buy books in bulk. Mainly the one that I've talked about many times, but some of the bigger books or larger books, some of them are $200, $300, $400, especially if there's volumes 1 and 2 and they're big and they're old 1800s. They could be $400 or $500 for the pair. It might cost you $30 in shipping. I'm going to charge $15 or $20. I'll eat the rest, but I've got like pennies in the great thing about books is that you're usually paying pennies on the dollar,
Yeah.
right? Like the
I
profit margin is so big. Like I
well,
bought a lot of books, got my money back very quickly. So I got nothing in these big volume sets that I'm listing for $300, $400, $500. So who
I
cares if I even have to eat $100 in shipping?
yeah, but I think the books he's talking about is more bread and butter books, not necessarily super expensive
Right.
ones.
But I'm just saying where I go with the books. So the smaller books that might cost $20 to ship, I'll charge 10. I might
Yeah.
charge 15 for Canadians, 10 for Americans,
Hmm.
but it's still a $50, $60 book. And I just realize it is what it is. You know what I mean? But if you're going to try to get the same rate, like the same value out of it as an American selling it at a cheaper shipping rate, that's not going to happen. You have to go out, at least how I look at it, I'm going after my own value. Right? So I'm not selling a book for $10. I'm selling a book for 30, 40, usually 40, 50 to $100, knowing that I'm going to have to eat some of that through my shipping
Yeah.
just to be able to compete.
Yeah.
But it's still a $40 profit, a
Yeah.
$30
I don't think he's
profit.
talking about those type of books though, but I don't really know. I'll have to ask him next time I see him.
Because if it's any other different type of book, it goes into my booth or it goes back to donation.
Yep.
Lachute Flea Market. There was a reply there. I didn't click on the reply. Do you know?
It's from Dawn. She says, "Do you have access to Stallion Express or Chit Chat's location?" He does not.
Okay.
I can get medium mail price of Stallion, but sometimes there's still an even cheaper option than that. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Medium mail's gone up so much that often normal shipping is fine. I know with Chit Chats, I'm grandfathered in as well, so new accounts don't even have access to media mail. So
Lachute Flea Market. Big day is Tuesday, and many guys set up Monday afternoon and sell between each other. Yes.
yeah, also
Tesla
cheap that.
Cybertruck is super fugly.
Yes, yes. I'll read the next one from Randy, Nova
Okay.
Scotia Celt. Hey, Scott and Carl, like the Bolos. Scott, if you want Skylanders, I can send you a crap load. Just teasing, Carl. When I purchased them, it was a big box and I had no idea what I was doing, but did recover my cost on 3 bigger figures. Scott, thanks for the Bolo and suits. I have a one-piece ski suit for the 1980s that have been in a box for years and not listed. Yeah, we all have stuff like that.
Well, Randy, list it. Let us know in the comments once you list it, and let us know when it sells. Because I guarantee you, I shouldn't guarantee because I don't want to hold myself to that. But I wouldn't be surprised if it sells within like a month.
It is purple and gray, really ugly, but popular at the time. Also have a brown leather jacket and pants motorcycle suit with licensed Honda patches.
Nice.
Keep finding, then losing it. Your videos are always enjoyable. Thanks, Randy. Well, thanks, Randy.
Yeah, the patches on the suit too. That's pretty good.
And
Probably you'd want like, I don't know, Honda's probably pretty decent, but like Harley Davidson or something. But then they're kind of overdone. So
yeah,
if this was like a racing suit with Honda on it, like for one of those type of bikes, that's probably the higher end of those suits.
I heard the Harley Davidson market's like being saturated to the hilt now.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Coca-Cola market. And the final one's for Randy. Harry, I'm first. Well, Harry probably isn't watching because he's confused the two shows. Speaking of the two shows, are you starting up again this Sunday?
Oh God,
Uh-oh.
the pressure. Probably.
Well, you heard it here first. They might or might not have a show this Sunday for Scott Sells Stuff live channel. We'll see. I have a feeling the answer is no, but we'll see.
Why would you say that?
Well, you just don't see so much into it at this precise second. And honestly, Adam really hasn't probably had a chance to source it anyways, right?
Yeah, so I'll talk to Adam and see what he says.
Yeah.
We'll go from there.
Excellent. Well, thanks for the comments, everyone.
Yes, thank you very much. Awesome. Love the comments. And that is going to bring us to a very quick ending of a show, Carl.
Well, only 2.5 hours of raw stuff to go through.
The raw material. I'll condense it down
material.
to about 2 hours and 25 minutes.
Perfect.
No, we'll try to get it closer to the 2 hour mark.
Great.
I can't, whenever I go through editing and I chop out a section, I can't even remember what we chopped out anyways. Like it just rambles on like it's one episode. Is there anything that I've ever chopped out? You say, why would he chop that out?
No, nope.
No, I can't remember either. So, yeah, I'm just super stoked about 2025, Don.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get in there. We're gonna go hard. I don't know what's that, Rudy. You ever watch the movie Rudy where they give that speech? We're gonna go in there hard, and we're gonna like boom, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do that. And so, anyway, there's your little prep talk speech for the 2025.
Oh, thanks, Scott.
We're gonna go in there and we're gonna list, and we're gonna find the good stuff, and we're gonna negotiate like crazy, and we're gonna list, and sell.
And we're gonna beat up Grandma for all her stuff.
If she's in the way, she's in the way. That ain't, if Grandma's in the way, that ain't okay. We got.
Perfect.
We're gonna run her over like Santa did with the reindeer.
Yeah, I knew you were going there. I was waiting for that.
I don't know. Anyway, now we're all awake now, Carl.
Yeah,
and that little prep talk. Now we're going into 2025. And we're gonna go hard. We're gonna go hard.
After these shows, I always have a little nap, so that's gonna be my start. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for listening.
Yeah, I'm gonna start off the first day of 2025 with my 20 listings. After I take this nap.
Okay, I'll check.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, you check all you want. It's gonna be there. But like I said, it's 5 days a week. So if I skip a Thursday, I'm gonna, before you say anything, make sure you check the Friday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sundays, because I could make up for it on those days. Right?
Okay.
So,
Okay.
if I get called to a private pick, I'm not going to say, oh, let me finish my 20 listings. I'm going to go to that private pick, and then I'll come back and I'll finish the listings on another day. But overall, 100 listings plus per week is the goal. How I get there, who knows? That's the goal. That's the goal.
Okay. Let's end this thing.
There's not like, Scott, I trust you. I believe you. Dude. You're the most dedicated person I know.
I am Mr. Positivity, and I will be
impressed and surprised.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Anything you want to say before we end the show, Carl?
No, that's it.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We're here every Friday, Spotify and YouTube, audio only. And have a good week.
Bye, everyone.
And have a good New Year.
Happy New Year.